In the classroom, the teacher addresses the students, reminding them of the era they live in, the age of heroes. It's been 5,000 years since the first hero record appeared, and the lower world has transformed countless times since then. This year, the Royal School of Dylan will host the Lumen entrance examination. The teacher brims with confidence, believing some pupils could become heroes. Yet not everyone shares his zeal. A student in the back row yawns, utterly disinterested. That's Leo. Frustrated, the teacher assumes his boredom means he already knows everything, so he challenges Leo to recount the 5,000-year-old hero-earning ritual. Leo finally rises from his seat. He answers nonchalantly, "Fame breeds worship on its own." Leo Plav, a 15-year-old heir of the esteemed house of Plav. The teacher, visibly disappointed by Leo's flippant reply, challenges the class for a more thorough answer. A sharp student shoots up their hand. He steps forward, noting that ancient heroes couldn't simply earn a god's favor. Only sacred rites could designate a true hero. The blood rite stands as the prime example. The teacher is genuinely impressed by the insight. He declares Gullivan of House Stratton destined to become the kingdom's greatest magical prodigy. Meanwhile, Leo grows weary of the daily nonsense. To him, ancient encounters with gods were mundane, just another facet of life. After all, the gods bestowed a miracle on the lower world, honoring the heroes who fought Erebos. This became the hero record. Yet Leo can't understand why his name alone is erased from it. 5,000 years ago, Erebus forced humanity to its knees. He was the very genesis of evil. To purge the darkness, four legendary heroes united. Together they confronted the menace. All perished in the final battle. Only one survived, Kyle. He remains humanity's last champion. All because his friends gave everything. Kyle slew the incarnation of Eve, sealing humanity's fate. Yet that was 5 millennia ago. Today, the textbooks tell another tale. They erase Kyle, crediting Lycina's sacrifice for ending Erebos, the origin of evil. No one has ever questioned it, until now. The shock arrives when a reborn Kyle uncovers the ancient legend of Erebos' downfall, and discovers his name has vanished from history. We follow reborn Kyle, stunned to find his name erased from history, who enrolls at Lumen Academy, the famed hero school preserving the hero record, determined to reclaim his rightful place. Years have passed since Kyle's reincarnation, yet his deeds remain unacknowledged, weighing on him. Later, students crowd the windows, eager to glimpse the marching Zerdinger clan, led by the enigmatic Celia Zerdinger. An announcement summons everyone to the auditorium for a mandatory assembly honoring the Zerdinger visit. As Leo exits, Gullivan shouts, asking if he'll try to impress the Zerdingers. Leo, uninterested, merely shrugs. Leo refuses to join the spectacle. All he wants is to go home. Gullivan, irritated by Leo's indifference, pretends disinterest while secretly craving Zerdinger's applause and a chance to outshine his rival, Celia. Later, Leo trains in the dojo. Exhausted from relentless stick drills, he wipes sweat from his brow. He sheathes his sword and heads for the exit. Just as he steps outside, a woman ambushes him, charging like a runaway train. Startled, Leo blocks her strike with his blade. Their clash reveals a familiar rivalry, hinting at a shared past. She declares this duel his final test for Lumen Academy admission, then reveals herself as his mother. She lunges again, their blades ringing in a fresh clash. Leo strains to keep pace as she taunts, "I barely tapped my true power." Blow after blow, the duel rages on, each strike more ferocious than the last. Finally, Leo seizes the advantage, his flawless swordplay overwhelming her and forcing a surrender. Awe fills the mother as she witnesses her son's astonishing growth. She rises, softening her voice to ask why he's so desperate to join Lumen Academy. First, a quick note on the school. Lumen Academy, the premier human hero academy, guards the hero record. Leo believes it holds clues to his former life as Kyle. With that motive, his resolve to enroll is unshakable. She tells Leo the Zerdinger clan has arrived in Daelon and are lodged at the Plav mansion. Unhappy to host them, she still plans to approach Zeiss, the clan's vice-patriarch, with a request. She hopes Zeiss will teach Leo the Zerdinger aura, believing it will secure his admission to Lumen Academy next year. What she doesn't know is Leo aims to enter this year. He can't afford to wait another 12 months. Later, we arrive at the Plav mansion. There Celia Zerdinger is ushered onto the grounds. Stepping from the carriage, 15-year-old sword princess Celia Zerdinger questions why her uncle settled for a modest manor when a whole hotel was within reach. Her mind is on the Lumen entrance exam, doubting a humble family like the Plavs could aid her preparation. Zeiss Zerdinger, her uncle, calls out, teasing her about meeting Leo, the boy who scoffed at the Zerdingers. Celia shrugs, dismissing Leo as an unskilled hopeful, while Zeiss sees untapped promise. As they cross the threshold, Zeiss steps forward to salute the heads of the Plav household. He exchanges courteous bows with Patriarch Dade Plav and his wife Reyna, who warmly welcome the Zerdingers. Zeiss then formally introduces Celia to Dade and Reyna. She promptly returns the greeting, offering a polite introduction of her own. Celia thanks them for their hospitality. Reyna studies Celia, noting the uncanny resemblance to her brother and uncle in looks and manner. Celia, meanwhile, Notes Reina's striking black hair and crimson eyes. The realization hits, Reina is a Zerdinger too, which also makes her Celia's aunt. Later, siblings Zeiss and Reina settle in, reminiscing, and Zeiss mentions their recent trip to Delon's Royal Academy in hopes of spotting Leo. They were disappointed to discover he'd already left school, uninterested in meeting anyone. Reina apologizes for her son's rude behavior. Zeiss probes his sister, asking what kind of person Leo is. Reina hails Leo's extraordinary talent, prompting Zeiss to wonder if he truly merits the Zerdinger flame. Reina continues praising her son, yet she insists she's not just a proud mother speaking. Leo genuinely possesses the talent to earn the Zerdinger legacy. Zeiss is intrigued, trusting her judgment, but he insists on testing Leo himself before deciding. Later, Leo sits alone, striving to focus. After completing his brief ritual, he tells himself he's finally forged a vessel capable of containing everything he needs. Leo ponders why he's only now learning aura. The answer lies in his unique physiology. Accepting aura too early would make it adapt and specialize, restricting his mana and soul energy growth. That limitation would cripple the two pillars of his long-term plan. In his previous life he saw the chaos of unchecked power. Had he fully absorbed his fallen comrade's essence, he'd have left a disaster in his wake. Determined not to repeat history, Leo vows perfect control. His first step is mastering aura on his own terms. Before he can dive deeper, a familiar voice calls his name, snapping his focus back. Turning, Leo catches sight of Celia Zerdinger. She flashes a confident smirk, teasing that he finally grasps training basics, then offers to teach him swordplay, if he dares. The clueless boy has no idea who she is. She declares herself Celia Zerdinger, the world-class sword princess. With formalities behind them, Leo cuts to the chase. Flattered yet dismissive, he refuses guidance from anyone he deems less skilled. Annoyed, the girl bristles. His comment sounds like a challenge to her superiority. Leo retorts that in a death match she'd likely win, since he can't wield aura. But in pure swordplay, he's confident he can handle her with ease. Celia takes his boast as a personal challenge. She scans the area and seizes a sword. Picking one from the many on display, she aims to crush his misplaced confidence by beating him in a duel. Convinced that even aura won't let Leo defeat her, she vows to teach him a harsh lesson. If she wins within her week here, he becomes her servant. Unfazed, Leo retorts, "What if I win?" She counters, "If you win, I'll become your servant." With the wager settled, Leo snatches a practice blade and jumps straight into the sparring. He strikes with startling speed, yet she effortlessly sidesteps. She can't ignore how unnervingly swift he is. Celia remains convinced his speed alone won't secure victory. They rush at each other once more. Leo unleashes a crushing blow, its sheer force overwhelming her. She staggers back, and when Leo's blade hits the ground it shatters instantly. Undeterred, he lunges at her again. The once confident swordswoman begins to regret the challenge, fearing she can't block the strike. She steels herself and meets the attack head-on. Yet, to everyone's shock, she emerges unscathed, having summoned aura armor at the last second, a move outside the spar's sword-only rules, and excuses it as a reflex. Leo declares victory, saying the outcome is already decided. The stunned Celia refuses to concede so easily. Leo saw it coming. He discards the heavy magical bracelets that curb his strength. With his next strike, he shatters her barrier outright. The girl is left utterly stunned. Leo shows no mercy, unleashing his full power. Later, strolling through the courtyard, Leo runs into his mother. She immediately introduces him to Uncle Zeiss. Leo bows respectfully, and Zeiss returns the gesture. Zeiss then announces himself. The two men seal the meeting with a handshake. His mother asks if he's already met Celia. Leo recalls she fainted after their duel, terrified. Before he can explain what happened, a knight rushes to Zeiss with a report on the lady. Zeiss is amazed that Leo bested Celia despite her aura still undeveloped. He praises Leo as extraordinary, yet Leo retorts that she simply underestimated him. Zeiss inquires what Celia forfeited in their wager. Leo smiles, noting the loser must become the winner's servant, so Celia will be his maid for a week. Though Zeiss dislikes the notion, he respects the sanctity of a promise. He reminds everyone that Celia hails from the Zerdinger house. He can't order her around, so he hopes Leo will rescind the promise. In return, he offers Leo a far more valuable reward. Leo immediately declines. He tells his uncle the bet was between him and Celia, and as long as she bears the Zerdinger name, she must own the outcome. The uncle asks if Leo will also forfeit the chance to learn the Zerdinger aura-breathing technique. Leo snaps back, calling a forced aura-breathing lesson, meant to spare his niece humiliation, worthless. With no other options, Zeiss turns aggressive, reminding Leo he just vowed to make a Zerdinger servant and dismissing their aura technique as useless. Unfazed, Leo admits his uncle's words are accurate. Suddenly softened, Zeiss politely asks if Leo thinks his declaration was rude. Leo assures he never meant to insult the Zerdingers. Leo states that if the aura-breathing technique were a prize for beating Celia, he'd gladly take it. Yet he refuses to let it become a bribe that lets her dodge the loss. If his uncle won't acknowledge her defeat, it implies she's superior, but Leo insists he'd still win. His mother swells with pride. Uncle Zeiss is equally impressed, noting that Leo's refusal proves his exceptional character, and wishing he were a Zerdinger. Zeiss gestures to his knights, ordering Celia to the maid's quarters. He then grants Leo permission to address him without any titles. After that brief exchange, Leo departs. Zeiss turns to his elder sister, proudly declaring he'll recount the events when he returns home. He'll persuade their elder brother to teach Leo the legendary Phoenix Breath technique. The scene shifts to Leo's quarters. Celia's face burns with pure embarrassment. She flails, declaring herself Celia the maid, bound to serve Leo for a week. Leo can't hide his delight as she calls him that. Who knew her elegant poise would look stunning in plain attire, the dress blazing like fire. Celia bristles at his compliments, knowing her own beauty. Leo quickly apologizes, insisting he meant no offense. He admits a certain friend once overpraised beauty. That habit has clearly rubbed off on him. He remembers the friend claiming that Eternity's beauty is unmatched. If peace ever returns, he'll devote his life to spreading beauty, guided by the dwarven master smith, Bueno. Celia's eyes lock onto Leo's book, and she asks curiously about it. Leo says he devoured it as a child. It's the legendary great hero of the beginning. Celia recalls reading the same tale when she was just 5. Seeing his passion for the volume, she strides to the shelf, and pulls out another tome. She notes the many books about Kyle. Leo retorts that history's grand feats rarely belong to a single hero, but to countless contributors over time. In other words, Kyle's glory is shared with others. Celia scoffs, calling Kyle a fraud who stole credit from true heroes. At least, that's the common rumor. Naturally, she's one of them. Leo bristles at the rumor that Kyle's a total fraud. He shoves the Kyle chatter aside, grabs breakfast, then heads to training. Celia dons her maid act, politely asks to train with her master, masking her inner resentment as she seeks the source of his power. Leo strides toward the training hall, ready to oblige. Moments later, a panting Celia collapses to her knees. After the first round, Leo offers his critique. When her stamina wanes, her reactions lag and gaps widen. She becomes vulnerable, exactly as she is now. Celia doubts that pushing her body to the brink truly aids her training. Leo grins, noting that today's youth are soft. Modern aura techniques have eclipsed pure physical training, yet strengthening the body still amplifies one's aura. Refusing the weak label, she summons courage and steps up for another round. Before re-engaging, she warns Leo not to underestimate her. Her reckless charge backfires when Leo simply sweeps her aside with a single swing. She hits the ground hard. Humiliation fuels her frustration after successive defeats. Leo offers a bracelet. She lunges to snatch it. Unaware, she grasps a weight magic bracelet that is crushingly heavy. Leo's grin turns sinister as he reveals his plan. She'll train forever wearing the cursed bracelet. The following morning, Zeiss watches Leo and Celia train, his eyes fixed on Celia's struggle. He's convinced a shattered pride will harden her before she leaves for Lumen. Zeiss calls out to Leo, announcing he plans to petition the Patriarch for the Phoenix Breath inheritance. Securing the Patriarch's blessing would grant him that power. Leo freezes at the name, Phoenix Breath, knowing it's the Zerdinger clan's legendary aura origin. He's heard only officially recognized family members may inherit it. Celia interjects, insisting her father won't hand it over so easily. Undeterred, Zeiss already anticipates this and offers Leo a condition. Pass the Lumini entrance exam, and he'll earn the right to learn the technique. Celia scoffs, calling Leo a clueless brat who can't even wield aura, and warns the combat-heavy Lumini test is a perilous gamble. Leo openly admits he lacks real combat experience, but that ignores his past life. Zeiss now awaits Leo's response. Leo promptly agrees, provided his parents give their blessing. A week later, the Lumini entrance exam begins, and Celia Zerdinger's presence among the entrants leaves everyone awestruck. Celia teases Leo, asking if he's nervous. Having played the maid too long, Celia still calls Leo Master, out of habit. Suddenly, Gullivan's unmistakable voice cuts through the air. He arrived to see Celia, only to be surprised by Leo's presence beside her. He sneers at Leo, claiming he doesn't belong here without aura, while offering Celia a polite greeting. Yet the pair barely acknowledge him, as if he were invisible. Flustered, he reminds Celia he's Gullivan Tratton, recalling their previous encounter. But Celia fails to recognize his name. She swiftly grabs Leo's hand, and they make a hasty exit. Suddenly, another voice summons them. Two siblings appear, 16-year-old Abad Llewellyn and his 14-year-old sister Chelsea, both of the Llewellyn clan. Celia greets them warmly, while Leo looks completely puzzled. Celia introduces them as the Llewellyn siblings, heirs of the Lordran Empire's heroic lineage. Irritated by their arrival, she warns Leo they can't afford to lose to the Llewellyns, though Leo, a Plav, feels detached. The siblings greet Celia, and she returns the greeting warmly. She then introduces Leo, a scion of House Plav from Dalit. Abad scoffs, dismissing titleless Leo as insignificant. They spin away, boasting they'll claim the top spot. Celia, bristling with rivalry, vows to crush the Llewellyns in the trials. Suddenly, a Lumen Academy envoy strides onto the podium, silencing the crowd and commanding everyone's attention. A man steps forward, introducing himself as Professor Albie Zarin of Lumen Academy. Celia's face freezes in shock at the sight of the esteemed scholar. Leo remains indifferent, clueless about the newcomer, while Celia, irritated, points out that Albie Zarin is listed in the hero record as a modern-era legend. Leo studies the professor intently. He spots a surge of raw mana blazing in Albie's left eye. Albie addresses the crowd, outlining the exam, solo duels and monster subjugation. He dismisses the traditional turn-based format as tedious. Without hesitation, he proves his point. He incinerates the paper in his hand, shredding the old exam structure. Then he produces a massive, ancient tome. He cracks open the ancient tome, and Albie summons the opening chapter. Prologue, The Wild Forest. Instantly, a towering rune circle ignites beneath every student's feet. The stage is set, and no one can guess his next move. One thing's clear, Albie lays waste, merging all trials into a single, relentless challenge. To grasp the stakes, we discover the hero record is more than a chronicle. It's a gateway that materializes the hero's realm, housing the memories of those who came before. By entering it, a contender can inherit a past hero's power, essentially a living training system. All the students are thrust into the hero's wild forest, where the professor declares survival the sole objective. Team up or betray, break your orb to quit, and that's it. After a brief scan, Leo instantly recognizes the surroundings. It's exactly the elven forest he remembers, before the witch queen Salatna seized it. Some classmates, however, are already desperate to return. They dismiss the realm as merely an illusion. Leo, on the other hand, refuses to believe that. He knows the examiner's memories birthed this world, but every danger here is deadly and real. Spotting a presence nearby, Leo's instincts sharpen. A sudden arrow slams the ground, shattering it, yet Leo emerges unharmed. He turns toward the arrow's origin, ready to confront whatever waits. He recognizes the attacker as Chelsea of the Llewellyn clan, who mistakes him for a Zerdinger and vows to kill him. Leo swiftly declares his true lineage, the Plav family. Chelsea snarls, accusing him of lying because she saw him with Celia earlier. Without hesitation, she unleashes a whimsical spell. Leo watches, impressed, as she chants a magic he's never seen before. Yet the spell's fundamentals mirror familiar arcane principles. Chelsea's frustration grows at his unflinching composure. She aims to shake him up. She launches her formidable technique. Leo deflects it effortlessly with a single sword swing. The mana blade she launches simply slides harmlessly away. Chelsea is thrown off. He blocked it without even using aura. How? He smirks, rubbing salt in her wounded pride by calling her attack trivial. He proposes an alliance, noting that the longest survivor scores the most, so she should at least pass the test before elimination. Her retort is swift. She boasts she's no ordinary sorcerer, but a battle mage. Offended by his dismissal, she vows revenge. She unleashes her full power, determined to crush him and prove she isn't weak. Yet every strike misses, as Leo isn't even in the blade's path. Worse, she senses no mana trace, leaving her blind to his location. Then she finally locks eyes on Leo, fists clenched, standing right before her. We never see if his punch actually hits her terrified face. One thing's crystal clear. Her knees buckle, a sure sign our hero has won. Leo reiterates his alliance offer, still open if she changes her mind. Before she can answer, the scene cuts to Lumen Academy's faculty, watching the showdown through a digital feed. They're thrilled. The battle finally heats up. Back on Chelsea, Mercy is nowhere in sight. Leo has bound her to a tree trunk. His expression makes it clear his intentions toward her are anything but kind. He even lights a small bonfire as night falls. Flames surge, licking the log where she's bound, and panic flashes across her face. She could escape, if she agrees to work with Leo. Stubborn as ever, she flat out refuses. She declares only her brother is worthy of an alliance. She summons wind, but Leo's anti-magic field nullifies it. He admits his mana is waning, so the barrier won't hold much longer. Realizing she can't rely on magic, she finally concedes. Leo, ever vigilant, keeps a close watch for any trickery. He stokes the blaze, and the flames soon lick her skin. Her clothes ignite, her last straw. She finally yields and accepts the alliance. Leo isn't satisfied with empty words. He demands she swear on her family's name. Without hesitation, she pledges on the Llewellyn name to cooperate. Satisfied, Leo unties the ropes binding her. Just before she could tumble into the roaring flames, he scoops her up and holds her close. The focus shifts back to the faculty. The teachers watch the duel intently. Albie Zarin admits no pupil has yet met his exacting standards. He scoffs that most students merely brawl, a laughable display. Only a handful exhibit true power, enough to earn his respect. Celia Zerdinger and Abad Llewellyn stand out, teaming up, offering Albie a glimmer of hope for his class. His gaze then lands on Leo and Chelsea, now allied. He watches Leo intently, despite the childish fire stunt on Chelsea. Securing Chelsea's cooperation earns Leo a tentative nod from Albie. Lacking Celia and Abad's power and poise, Leo still surprises Albie by effortlessly defeating Celia, marking him as an unexpected dark horse. He does so after cutting down several monsters along the way. Leo and Chelsea press on, with Chelsea finally seeing the alliance's value. She questions his aura, noting no mana. Leo nonchalantly admits he can't wield aura at all. Her shock is cut short as a lurking monster watches them from the shadows. Chelsea instantly spots the creature and Leo unleashes a rapid blast, instantly incinerating the creature. The strike is absurdly overkill for such a weak foe. He admits Chelsea's raw power is impressive, but her technique is flawed. Suddenly, Leo's senses prick, something feels off. He orders Chelsea to freeze. Scanning the sand, he spots cracked earth littered with skeletal remains. Without warning, a massive explosion detonates. Leo darts away, hoisting a burning Chelsea in his arms. The hidden ambushers finally reveal themselves. It's Gullivan and his crew, out for revenge on Leo. He orders a companion to charge, and the fool obeys instantly. The charge meets a crushing blow from Leo, sending him sprawling. Leo stands, radiating pure Giga-Chad confidence, and tells Chelsea to watch his back. Chelsea flinches, amazed at his effortless double rescue. She quickly rises, takes position behind him, ready for the remaining foes. Meanwhile, Gullivan does what he does best. He bolts for his miserable life. He deserts his crew, desperate to put distance between himself and Leo, hunting for a new ally. Spotting him from afar, Celia walks calmly toward his escape route instead of chasing. When they reach the spot, the sight is breathtaking. The ground is strewn with monster carcasses and the fallen students who tried to slay them. Chelsea lights up, thrilled to be reunited with her brother. Celia snarls at Leo, demanding to know why he's siding with Chelsea. Leo boasts that he chose to forge an alliance with her, a claim Celia scoffs at. She'd believe a cockroach doing backflips before trusting his story. With a cold grin, Leo replies he simply persuaded her, a remark that unnerves Celia as she wonders what he really did. He then helps the knocked out students to their feet. Abad, watching, asks why Leo is aiding their enemies. Leo cuts straight to the chase. There's no reason to fight each other. Unity, not selfish battles, is the key to surviving this world's trials. Seeing their confusion, Leo points to the rotting corpses nearby, hinting at a far greater threat. A student notes the corpses look bone-dry, as if all moisture has been sapped. Leo adds that the strangeness runs deeper. This entire area is eerily void of monsters. It's as if the beasts are fleeing from an unseen terror. Perhaps a high-tier monster has shown up, scattering the rest. Abad pieces it together, recalling Hero Albi's first triumph over a high-tier beast. Suddenly, a thunderous roar echoes from afar. An ominous presence stirs deep within the forest. The roar crackles with tension, signaling the monster's imminent reveal. Meanwhile, Gullivan fumbles alone through the woods, torch trembling in his grip. Terrified, he fixates on revenge against Leo, ignoring his own survival. Gullivan spots a corpse at his feet, and a looming darkness makes him stumble. He trips and crashes to the ground. From the shadows emerges a colossal, ravenous spider-like monster. Gullivan's doom is sealed. Meanwhile, Professor Albi's dilemma with the students unfolds. A staggering 500 candidates have failed the exam. The selection requires at least 100 survivors, yet only 50 remain. Refusing compromise, Albi vows to pick only the elite, trusting the headmaster's confidence in him. He's a zealot for forging heroes in times of crisis. His focus now rests on Leo Plav, the unexpected dark horse with hidden talent. Can this underdog survive the brutal trial? We return to the exam grounds, where students scramble in the gloom. Their swift feet stumble through the oppressive darkness. Celia ignites her blade, announcing a threat ahead. The red glow exposes a massive spider feasting on its prey. Terror grips them as the monster roars, ready to strike. A mage lunges, casting a spell to fell the beast. Leo intercepts, urging Gullivan to shatter the crystal instead. Cornered between the spider's jaws, Gullivan can barely move. He hammers the blue crystal with desperate force. A surge of electricity arcs into the creature's gaping maw. Ready, Abad unleashes his Windfang spell. He hurls it at the beast, wounding it. Yet it fails to finish the monster. The quartet reels, realizing the danger they're facing. The grotesque spider princess tarantula is anything but cute. A reckless student charges in for a melee strike. He's instantly humbled by a single blow. He crashes down. Next, Celia arrogantly vows a one-hit finish. She activates the prominence spell, firing a razor-sharp red beam that pierces the creature, inflicting searing pain. Yet the spider's armor is tank-hard, healing in an instant, rendering Celia's assault futile. Seizing the pause, Abad tries to reason with her, arguing that a mage's and a knight's devastation are worlds apart. He unleashes the wind spell Raffaele, carving a relentless spiral through the beast. But when his barrage ends, dread floods him as he sees the creature, unscathed, glaring back. With her brother in peril, Chelsea summons Windbreaker magic to aid him. Abad still takes a claw wound, but his sister's magic softens the impact. She rushes to his side, relieved he escaped losing an arm. All their attacks fail. The creature's lightning-fast regeneration renders them futile. Despair spreads as the Queen Tarantula closes in for the final strike. Leo steps forward, revealing the beast is Salatna's daughter. She served Erebos, scorching the elf forest to ash. Leo notes the mana in Professor Albi's left eye bears the Fairy King's signature. The tarantula once ruled the Cursed Wilds, wiping out the elves' forest and devouring the Fairy King's trusted ally who defied her. Leo had thought Luna had responsibly slain the tarantula, but the truth is far from that. The tarantula survived by devouring the Fairy King's aid. She claimed the priceless ring of life, the source of endless vitality. Stubborn as a stone, Abad insists the exam demands he kill the beast alone. He and Celia launch back-to-back attacks, hoping to fell it solo. Yet the spider weathers their fury. Leo scoffs, noting the creature's regeneration renders their blows pointless. They'll exhaust their mana long before it wanes. In a desperate plea, Celia asks Leo for a plan. He says only a two-person team can succeed. Abad, selfish and defiant, rejects the advice, and Celia follows suit. Their childish bickering prompts Leo to deliver a harsh reality check. Without teamwork, they all will fall. At last, his plea reaches them. Abad entertains the idea of teamwork but doubts they can launch a decisive strike quickly. With only they can stall the beast, the odds are steep. Leo steps forward, offering to buy them precious time. Celia scoffs, noting Leo can't even wield aura, yet he admits he can only stall for 5 minutes. Abad worries their coordinated assault will still fall short in that span. Leo, however, is convinced it will succeed. He grabs a discarded weapon. He notes fire and wind intertwine perfectly, enough to tip the tide. Despite their clashes, the Sword Princess and the Magician forge an uneasy alliance. Leo eyes the grotesque spider, seeing a worthy challenge and an echo of his past. It also reminds him of the life he once led. With a swift slash, he cleaves the beast's limb, shocking his classmates. The cut leaves the other two students stunned. He then rends the creature's face, shattering its hide. Satisfied, he recognizes the monster as Tartaros. A flashback shows an elven child fleeing in terrified tears. Tartaros ensnares the child in its web. Trapped in the sticky net, escape seems impossible. The spider descends, poised to devour the helpless child. The child cries out for his mother, bracing for death. Then a radiant savior descends. A being of light halts the monster's assault. Enraged, Luna unleashes a blinding strike at the toothy beast that ravaged her homeland and devoured the forest's right hand. Her magic engulfs Tartaros, imprisoning it. A column of thunder crashes down. Luna never expected Erebo's army to have seized the elven forest as well. In that instant, Leo's former self takes charge of rescuing the child. He tears the web apart, freeing him. Now, let's dive into the present scene. He plants his axe, buying his team precious seconds. Though without aura, his options are limited. He calls out to Chelsea for assistance. Leo orders her to channel elemental magic, aiming her attacks at him. He sidesteps the incoming blow with fluid agility. Chelsea worries his blinding speed could still trap him in the assault. Leo assures her he'll be fine if she speeds up. Chelsea unleashes her magic, ready to forge any weapon he needs. Leo accepts any tool, as long as it works. She conjures a weapon for him. He guesses it's a scimitar and a bastard sword. Gripping the dagger and battle axe, Leo rains down furious slashes, cleaving the spider. Each blow splinters his weapons. Chelsea hurls another weapon his way. He snatches a dagger and a battle axe. Leo's staggering raw power leaves Chelsea stunned. She assumes he's a martial arts master. Even Abad can't deny his strength. Yet a sharp slash grazes his face, proving he's not invincible. Leo mutters that if he can't even slay a simple spider now, his friends will keep teasing him forever. He amps up his assault, cleaving the spider and demanding another weapon. To his surprise, Chelsea has run out of weapons to hand him. Luckily, Celia has already finished charging her ultimate attack. She unleashes a roaring spiral of flame. The fire engulfs the beast, incinerating it instantly. The life-draining ring shatters from its corpse. The monster finally falls under their control. Celia collapses, relieved that the battle is over. Yet she can't stop admiring Leo's superhuman feat of holding back Tartaros for 5 minutes. Celia attempts a compliment, but Chelsea outpaces her with a rapid retort. She's become his biggest fan, likening his feat to legendary heroes. Leo shrugs it off while the girl goes wild, begging to train as a battle mage under him. Ironically, Celia hopes Chelsea will get exclusive tutelage from him to truly understand suffering. Anyway, our hero snatches the Ring of Life, summoning Prince Silid as a fairy. He revives the prince's memory by uttering his name. He hears it and re-enters the ring, and crowns Celia as Fairy King, all thanks to Professor Alby's discovery of the Eye of Mana. The testing grounds countdown begins. Conquering Tay-Stage earns them the Fairy King's pledge. Just before the transfer, Leo spots a figure from his former life. Cut to Kalyan Badian, the Academy's principal. He's scrutinizing the Western Territory exam report. His aide wonders how many students Alby actually passed under his strict standards. The headmaster is surprised to see 40 students clear the exam, still a modest tally. Yet he isn't disheartened. He'd expected no more than 10, so 40 feels like a victory. Celia and Abad top his expectations, and whispers circulate about a chosen yearly representative. Astonishingly, Alby made the recommendation, likely favoring either Zerdinger or Lulin. Yet the chosen candidate is an unknown name, outshining even Celia and Abad. Professor Alby scrutinizes the boys' abilities with keen precision. He nominates Leo Plav as the Night Division's representative. The headmaster is stunned, hearing Alby hail the student as a true hero. With the exams finally concluded, Leo luxuriates alone in a steaming sauna, savoring the heat. Their prize, the Fairy King's pledge. Typically, a hero's triumph yields no tangible reward, but this time an exception was granted. Confused, Leo spots his mother materializing before him. She confronts Leo, demanding he knows why she was expelled from House Serdinger. Attempting to save an ally, she lost control and unleashed Serdinger's raging flames. She harbors no regret. Fixated on her sole son, she aims to guide his extraordinary talent. She's thrilled to congratulate him on his academy acceptance. Upon entering majestic Lemuria City, students must gather their gear before crossing the gate. Lemuria stands as the world's heart. Its crown jewel is the Lumen Academy. Now that Leo finally arrives, his uncle greets him, praising his success, while Leo wonders why he's here. He learns how Serdinger is tangled in a month-long, unresolved debate. He grills Leo, asking if he knows why the feud began. Does it tie to the Phoenix Breath inheritance? His uncle confirms, though his sister isn't a Serdinger, Leo is undeniably her son. The clan elders are stunned by his triumph in the notoriously brutal Western exam. Leo receives a unique subspace key. He immediately activates it with a spoken command. The key opens a hidden tome. His uncle orders him to ink the pages with his own blood. Leo complies, biting his thumb. He drips the blood onto the parchment. With his blood sealed inside, the book's secrets are unlocked. No one else will ever learn his secret. Mastering Serdinger techniques is tough, but his uncle trusts Leo's talent will adapt quickly. He formally welcomes Leo into House Serdinger. Afterward, Celia summons Leo to a hidden rendezvous. Suddenly, a girl collides with him, sending them sprawling. She hurriedly gathers her books, apologizing for the rush. She darts away, leaving a card Leo spots. He snatches the card and discovers it belongs to Chloe Muller, a freshman at the academy. Leo swings the door open. Inside, an irritated Celia scolds him. Shopping list pending and he's already late. He apologizes, citing an unexpected encounter with his uncle. Celia beams, eager for details. He answers her burning question. Commanding the Serdinger flames, he wonders if he's wielding them correctly. She watches, stunned into disbelief. In under a month, Leo has already mastered the secret technique. His feat leaves her shocked, questioning whether he's even human. Later that evening, the Sword Princess and the Forgotten Hero spot a ship anchoring nearby. Professor Einalandis steps forward, announcing himself as the night class instructor. He urges the students to board the ship now. Lumen awaits. The voyage kicks off with the pupils relaxing and chatting. Leo and Celia sit together, unmistakably a pair. A cocky newcomer blurts a remark that irks Celia. He's a Moiran alchemist merchant, hawking wares. He pitches his goods to the duo, offering school supplies. Leo reveals his student name and his Dowlad heritage, shocking Thomas, who knows Dowlad passed the brutal Western exam. Leo calls out the odd atmosphere, feeling something's off. Celia brushes it off, insisting fresh graduates always get this calm treatment after the exam. Leo fixes his gaze on the instructor. Thomas nods, echoing Celia's assessment. Suddenly, the ship lurches. A massive tentacle erupts from the sea. It nearly crushes Thomas as the students beg the teacher for aid. The teacher, wine in hand, scoffs at their pleas. He declares Lumen Academy students must face danger alone, a test of their resolve. Before them looms the ultimate nightmare, a colossal kraken. Unflinched, the Forgotten Hero cleaves the tentacle with his blade. Celia holds her own, biting fiercely. The Sword Princess unleashes a blazing strike. The kraken retaliates, blasting a torrent of water. The surge drenches Celia. A massive tentacle seizes Thomas, his screams echoing. Witnessing the danger, Celia and Leo sprint forward, blades flashing to cut the beast. The alchemist, greed flickering, launches his own shocking attack. He'd counted on the Sword Princess alone, but another student proves equally fierce. Thomas barely escapes a crushing, ice-cold tentacle. He roars at the would-be killer who almost ended him. Chloe, the bespectacled girl who collided with our hero, wields ice magic, single-handedly repelling the beast. She scolds the alchemist for turning a hindrance instead of staying back. Thomas laments that she cares little for the weak who try to assist. Another tentacle shatters beneath their blows. The fearless pair, Abad and Chelsea, charge onto the fray. Their clan rivalry still burns hot. Yet the battle mage keeps her gaze fixed on our boy, despite their enmity. With swarms of lake monsters closing in on the academy, the instructor deems it the ideal freshman welcome. All while sipping his wine, he praises the top performers. Chen watches intently. Celia fights fiercely. Chloe readies her ice magic. Walden and Duran Moira join the fray. Each regional captain excels against the threat, yet one student eclipses them all. A nameless freshman, unaffiliated with any region, wields flawless swordsmanship, anticipating every strike. The instructor looks forward to watching the boy unleash his full potential. Meanwhile, the hapless alchemist swiftly empties his potion supply. At long last, they arrive. Stepping off the ship, the instructor warns the students they'll soon master monster encounters. Now they venture into the grand entrance hall. Lamini Academy's training grounds dazzle with awe. Spectators eagerly await the freshman's debut. The entrance ceremony looms, with the night division lined up as their instructor pushes the captains to the front. The headmaster presides, confident the hero candidates will shine. Kallian tells the students, to become true heroes, they must risk everything and stay, always push beyond their limits. With a thunderous fist slam, the headmaster declares that anyone failing his basic standards has no place here. Their inability to meet it means they're unfit for the academy. In an instant, his sternness melts into a grandfatherly grin, as if the intimidation never happened. Kallian breaks the silence, asking why everyone has suddenly gone mute. The legendary swordmaster's shining reputation begins to dim before his eyes. The freshman representative now steps up, a name the newcomers have been buzzing about. It isn't Celia, Abad, or Chloe, none of the familiar faces. The crowd erupts, chanting only Leo Plav's name. Even he is taken aback by the roar. He spins to the professor, realizing the teacher must have put his name forward. Leo strides to the podium. He delivers his address to professors and seniors. Meanwhile, whispers ripple through the crowd about the mysterious newcomer. His speech drags on, testing everyone's patience. When asked about his ambitions as this year's representative, Leo reveals his aim, to bait the elite challengers behind him. He speaks with polished poise, leading the faculty to expect a restrained ceremony. Then, he erupts, daring anyone to contest his claim to the title. The brazen proclamation shocks the assembly, and incites the top-ranked students to respond. Leo cares not who stands in his way. With the ceremony over, the students head to their dorms. Tomorrow marks a week-long trial of exploratory classes. This grace period lets them sample any subject. They'll later choose 3 majors from those experiences. They're urged to rest now, lest they start the term exhausted. Leo's quarters sit beside Thomas, who's buzzing for his first lesson. They exchange a quick goodnight. Leo collapses onto his bed. His thoughts race. What will he achieve at the academy? He's determined to claim his spot at the premier institution. He's desperate to uncover his missing hero record. The next morning in the cafeteria, Thomas asks to sit beside him. He barely cares, but grants the request. An irritated stranger appears at Leo's table. It's Duran of the Central Region, here to test the weight of Leo's challenge. Leo realizes his speech was a full-blown provocation, daring anyone to step up. Duran boasts, claiming he's the Central Region's top talent. Leo remains unfazed, sipping his fruit juice. Infuriated by the dismissal, Duran erupts, delivering a thunderous kick. He sends the table flying. But Leo's superhuman speed lets him reassemble the ingredients. He rebuilds his perfect cheeseburger. He epitomizes class, turning the chaos into a meal. Leo taunts, saying he can't let free food go to waste. Duran, intent on crushing the freshman rep, snarls that Leo's weakness bruises his ego. He intervenes in the fight. Their instructor casually drapes his arms over both students. He calmly reminds them of their titles, representative and regional captain, and warns of the punishment for fighting on day 1. Their faces betray a silent plea for help. We cut to the first exploratory night class. Celia wonders why Leo is missing. He finally appears, gasping for breath. His condition draws Celia's concern. She assumes he's just been in a fight. Leo keeps silent for now. The class begins as Ein introduces himself, the Night Division instructor. Thomas notes Duran's hostile stance toward Leo. Instructor Ein outlines Mana's 3 core powers: magic energy, soul energy, and the toughest, aura. Celia adds that aura's conversion strips mana of its fluidity. Exactly, magic and soul energy draw raw mana, while aura siphons and reshapes it for the body. He then visualizes an aura in action. He asks if anyone can actually wield that refined aura. Celia scrambles for an answer but comes up blank. The freshman steps in, noting that channeling aura demands burning mana. The instructor nods, prompting him to pinpoint the key factor in that burn. Leo snaps back stamina. Ein, impressed, probes whether Leo has ever studied aura. He admits he hasn't. Yet, without any study, he's already grasped its core, an astonishing insight. Ein cuts the lecture short, declaring it's time for a practical exercise. He channels his aura into his legs, forming a rippling platform known as the aura step. Ein steps onto the ground, demonstrating the aura step. She notes that aura's applications are virtually limitless. Other students begin testing and sparring with their newfound abilities. Celia teases Leo, offering to teach him the aura step if he calls her sister. Leo declines, confident he already grasps aura's fundamentals. Spotting Duran lingering nearby, the instructor seizes the moment to discuss the cafeteria melee. The instructor addresses the commotion that erupted in the cafeteria. Students like Chelsea remain clueless about the incident. Thomas fuels her curiosity further with his remark. The instructor summons Leo and Duran to the front. Ein confronts Duran, demanding what provoked his anger. After Duran's dismissive reply, the instructor offers the perfect solution. He pits the Central Region captain against the freshman representative, in a sprint to decide the class leader. Ein declares both may wield their aura freely, without restrictions. A clear advantage for Duran. Competition day arrives. Thomas, the savvy businessman, runs the betting booth. First up, the prodigy of House Moira, followed by Duran, master of lightning aura. Standing opposite him is the unlikely dark horse, Leo Plav, who outran even the regional captains to claim the freshman representative title. The class doubts Leo, He can't even perform a basic Ori step, making his representative role seem undeserved, and many argue the Central Region captain should hold the title. Seizing the moment, Ein announces the rules. First across the finish line wins, and the loser must accept the verdict. The race is about to ignite. Even Celia doubts Leo can pull off a victory. Duran, a speed specialist wielding blistering lightning aura, seems unbeatable, yet Celia still hopes Leo will defy expectations. When the professor shouted, "Go!" the racers exploded forward, Duran enveloping himself in crackling lightning aura. He's confident his speed will leave Leo in the dust. Maintaining flawless form, Leo ignores the petty trash talk at the start. As the crowd predicts, the composed Central Region representative is set to dominate the track. Meanwhile, the freshman representative falls behind as Leo channels aura into his feet to boost his speed. The crowd instantly brands him a fraud who stole the representative slot. Amid the boos, one voice rises, Chelsea Llewellyn's fervent cheer for Leo. Determined to dominate, Duran lives up to his family's lightning legacy, tearing down the track. Seeing Duran blitz past the halfway mark leaves Car anxious. Leo must step up or lose. Leo scans the track, searching for an edge. To everyone's shock, he doesn't sprint faster, he deliberately slows. When his momentum stalls, he veers off the lane and slams into the walls. Even Celia Zerdinger's faith can't explain his reckless move. He looks foolish. Yet, oblivious to the crowd's confusion, Leo concentrates on densifying aura in his feet. He vaulted off the track with a series of superhuman leaps, landing in the grass. Then he sprang into the stands, turning nonchalantly to watch Duran extend his lead. His aura surged to its peak, the blazing energy in his feet shattering the stands beneath him. A single thunderous leap hurled him back onto the track, momentum blazing. The impact sparked a brief explosion, momentarily throwing Duran off guard. From the blast, Leo shot forward like a crimson meteor, blazing across the track. He jeered at Duran, dubbing the arrogant brat a slowpoke as he flew past. The blazing meteor slammed into the finish line, landing with breathtaking grace. Duran, stunned a few meters behind, watched his lightning aura vanish, a total loss. Leo tilted his head back, flashed a confident grin. Victory was his. The stands, however, bore heavy damage. Still, it paid off. The jeering crowd was stunned, realizing they'd just witnessed something extraordinary. They'd always believed Duran was the fastest freshman, and now a kid who barely mastered aura had toppled him. Only Celia grasped Leo's true feat. He bypassed aura step, unleashing a full-blown phoenix step. With Leo's win, Carr and Chelsea erupted in cheers, showering their friend with praise. The professor observed silently, noting Duran's lightning aura boost. Expected as it was, Duran's speed still left everyone awestruck. Leo may have lagged traditionally, but his mastery of fire aura turned his feat into a single, flawless phoenix step. Ever the sportsman, Leo extended his hand to Duran, praising the match and admitting a longer race would have tipped the scales. Still sour over his defeat, the brat snubbed the handshake and shoved his shoulder aside. The professor is convinced this new batch of disciples could finally produce a true hero. When Leo rejoined his friends, Chelsea flooded him with praise, insisting she wanted to train alongside him. Carr questioned Celia why Chelsea fawns over Leo instead of him, a truth that's glaringly obvious. After class, Carr invited the whole group to the cafe, offering to foot the bill. Leo apologized, saying he couldn't join the outing. He slipped away silently. When asked where, he replied he was heading to a summoning lecture. His friends, puzzled by a night attending a summoning class, heard his usual answer, research. Leo still can't fathom why the Fairy King granted him the pledge as a reward. He knows hero rewards tied to the world owner's power, and his seems linked to summoning. Yet Professor Alby is a pure magician, not a summoner, so Leo ought to have gained a magical skill. And to meet a fairy you must venture into fairyland, making his current reward practically useless, for now. As Leo waited outside the summoning class, a familiar voice asked if he was a fellow summoner. It was Chen Xia, the Eastern captain and top scorer, polite, cheerful, and kind, unlike the race-obsessed captains. After brief pleasantries, she urged him to call her simply Jia. Knowing Leo as a Night Division student, she was surprised by his sudden interest in summoning. He claimed a mere fascination with spiritualism, meaning they'd cross paths in many upcoming classes. When queried about her contract, Xia conjured a graceful water sprite. Leo hasn't formed any contracts yet, but Xia kindly offered her aid whenever he needs, an offer Leo can't refuse. He then blundered by asking her age. Xia smiled, revealing she's 17, still older than Leo's 15. Leo noted how youthful Xia seemed, even younger than Chelsea. Sina caught his brief hesitation. She teased him about a rude thought, which he brushed off. Boys always deny. She came over simply to say how impressed she was by his race against Duran. She'd watched from the crowd, his blazing sprint etched into her memory. Determined, she challenged him to a future duel. Leo chuckled, accepting with a confident grin. After meeting countless eccentric rivals, a genuine person feels refreshing. Thus the summoning division's field class began. No classroom, just open fields. Two striking figures with white hair stand out among the crowd. Clearly, they're main characters, not background extras. Leo surveyed the sparse gathering, confirming his suspicion that summoning draws few students. He wondered why the lesson was held outdoors. The answer swooped down, a colossal, sun-blotting, scaly beast. It glided over the startled students. With a thunderous thud it landed, revealing a towering black wyvern. Weak-willed students crumpled to their knees at the sight. The rider atop the wyvern smiled, declaring the beast had taken a fancy to the class. She dismounted, introducing herself as Yura Marin, summoning instructor Yura, the year-long mentor, dazzles with long white hair, a fit figure, and striking, devilish looks. The hormone-ridden freshmen are desperate to become her summons. Leo imagined pervy Dueno losing his mind over Yura's charm. Unlike Luna's or Lucina's, he'd be spurred to create even finer art. Cutting to the chase, Miss Yura told her greenhorns that earning a spot in this elite program proves they have talent, an answer the freshmen eagerly confirmed. Impressed by their confidence, Yura sent them straight to the practice field. She summoned Carlo, the first-year associate professor, to release the griffins. Yura explained they'd pair up, with enough griffins for every rider. The catch: none have ever handled such finicky beasts. At the first complaint, Yura's glare hardened, demanding they decide whether to heed her lesson. Mounted on her black wyvern, she declared anyone doubting they could ride a griffin should quit now. The scaly beast echoed her fury, roaring and beating its wings as it rose, asserting dominance. Amid the trembling crowd, a lanky student stood tall, unfazed. Associate Professor Carlo chimed in, urging the students to move quickly and follow the instructor. After shedding their fear, most discovered the griffins were far gentler than expected. Yet some of these four-legged birds proved notoriously tricky, pure chance. Leo paired with Zia. She politely requested the reins, and he readily obliged. Thus, the students rose skyward in pairs. The quick adapters matched the professor's pace, soaring above the sea. No one expected to ride griffins on day one, but Lumen's elite program erased their doubts. Students even argued over who would grip the reins. Xia piloted the griffin, soaring with Leo. She felt uneasy, but the beast proved gentle. Still, first-time riders must stay vigilant. Griffins are notoriously temperamental. Seeing the smooth flight, Miss Yura spiced things up, pulling a whistle from her belt. She blasted it, emitting a high-pitched tone only the griffins could perceive. The birds' instincts ignited, claws unsheathed as a primal surge rippled through them. Their erratic behavior sent the weaker students scrambling for the professor's aid. Unaware she triggered the chaos, Miss Yura declared anyone who can't tame a wild griffin isn't worthy of Lumen Academy. Even seasoned summoner Zia struggled to control her mount. As Zia wrestled the reins, Leo steadied her waist, warning that brute force only fuels a griffin's pride. He steadied her with a calm, reassuring touch. Leo deftly guided the griffin's reins, taming its wild charge. From behind, he surged the griffin, propelling it faster than ever. Their swift, steady flight soon left the professor and Carlo behind. Miss Yura lauded his mastery, then asked Carlo if the first-year rider was applying for the Knight Major. Records show he's a candidate, and his skill makes Yura suspect he owns a personal griffin. Yet Carlo notes Leo lacks noble wealth, so his talent alone must be driving him. Early in the term, Yura feels she's uncovered a hidden gem. After the aerial ordeal, all students arrived at the Summoner's Island, the Major's training grounds. While many vomited on the beach from the wild ride, Leo strolled the white sand, hunting for ripe fruit. He finally spotted a perfectly sized, ripe fruit. He gestured to pluck it, discovering a charred feather. His mind raced with possibilities, but he kept them hidden. He tossed the ripe fruit to the griffin, thanking it for the safe landing. With everyone accounted for, Ms. Yura summoned the class, a surprise practical exam on day one. Some students only wanted a taste of the exploratory period. Now they face an unexpected test. Ms. Yura warned that the summoner's path stretches far beyond the other two majors. Everyone knows that controlling mana alone isn't enough for summoning. A true contract demands the right spirit affinity. Mastery over summons requires solid taming skill. The road is brutal and intricate, which is why summoner heroes are far fewer than those of other classes. Unlike most heroes, elite summoners achieve feats far beyond the ordinary. Legendary summoners carve their names into history. That's the allure. Every student dreams of becoming a legend themselves. Eliza Hergon of the famed Northern Hergon clan stepped forward, demanding to know the exam's nature. Ms. Jura clarified that the Summons Island teams with beasts and spirits, as its name implies. Because summons serve as weapons, the test gauges each student's taming skill. Simple in concept. All they need do is tame a forest summon, return it to the beach, and they may keep it. Students erupted in cheers. Rarely can they claim a beast. While everyone else dashes into the woods, Leo strides into the forest, unruffled. Surprisingly, Eliza trails him, eager to greet the famed victor over Duran. The class's top students watched the exchange. Leo brushed Eliza aside, calmly claiming he was just doing his best. Eliza seethed as he dismissed her like a commoner. From a distance, Ms. Yura already spots the freshmen's key players. Within minutes, many students began taming their chosen beasts. None captured Leo's interest. A few whispered that the freshman rep was venturing too deep, hoping he'd fail, score 0, and revert to a Knight Major. Unfazed, Leo pressed deeper along the trail. His guide, the feather from the orange tree, once charred, now restored. He reached a secluded clearing, ensuring no interruptions. He ignited the Zerdinger fire within, reducing the feather to ash. A scorching pressure rose from behind, confirming his suspicion. Back in Leo's hometown, life had quieted now that the fledgling had left the nest. Reina was cooking a feast worthy of a Ghibli film outdoors. Yet she fretted over her son's first day of school, wondering why she felt so on edge. If Reina could glimpse his trials, she'd understand her worry was justified. She reassured herself that Leo, a resilient boy, would be fine. Meanwhile, Leo was engulfed in searing heat, surrounded by the legendary Phoenix's flames. The Phoenix, summoned by Reina's scent, was bewildered by a child wielding Zerdinger fire. Hearing his mother's name, Leo asked the Phoenix how it knew her, realizing it had arrived just in time. The legendary Phoenix reveals a surprising connection to Leo's mother, claiming it owes Reina a profound debt. She is Verena, the elusive Phoenix, one of the 3 primal summons. Verena bows, addressing Leo with the reverence his mother's lineage commands. Leo returns the courtesy, then presses Verena for details about her bond with Reina. She confesses Reina rescued Ellen Lunda, Verena's original summoner. Leo flinches at the name. Ellen, a renowned hero, was deep in Siren's dungeon when her comrades fell and death loomed. Reina burst in, flames blazing, pulling Ellen from the brink. In the rescue, Reina, once a dignified knight, sacrificed her blazing aura. Had she kept her flame, Reina might have claimed a hero's throne. This is Leo's first glimpse of that past. Reina never regretted that fateful choice, and Verena chuckles, recognizing the true spirit of a knight. Leo shifted the conversation, asking why a legendary Phoenix lingered in Lumen, but Verena, baffled by a young knight on the summons isle, had no answer. He revealed he, too, was training in summoning. Intrigued, Verena examined the boy more closely. Seeing his potent, almost adult-like aura, she laughed heartily, declaring their meeting destiny. Now she could finally repay her debt to his mother. Verena urged Leo to extend his hand and grasp her flame. The fire swirled around his palm, forming an egg that cradled the Phoenix hatchling. She hopes that, as a future master summoner, Leo will bond with her offspring. Though the egg was destined for another summoner, Verena chose Leo. When Leo begged to hatch and tame it instantly, the Phoenix staggered, stunned. Before she could intervene, a fiery aura already enveloped his body. Verena warned him it was far too early. She cautioned that a misstep could cost his life. Yet Leo's unwavering focus pushed him past the point of return, a trait inherited from his mother. All she could do was wish him luck. As the egg began hatching, only Leo and the blazing fire seemed to exist. He extended his hand, mesmerized by the radiant blaze. His palm's touch ignited the ember into an uncontrollable flare. Leo recoiled as the heat choked his breath. The true power of a Phoenix flame. The trial mirrors a Phoenix's agony, burning its body daily to unleash fierce fire. Immortal, they endure eternally searing flesh while regenerating at a staggering pace. Now that Leo truly feels their agony, he ceases resisting and embraces the flames, letting them consume him. The fire erupts, raging over his entire form. The egg in his grasp shatters, cracking open. Leo's eyes flare open, bearing newfound wisdom and acceptance of the pain. The searing flames coalesce around the egg, accelerating its hatch. Verena asks if he succeeded. He answers confidently, "I have." She smiles, hailing him a genius. A Phoenix's prophecy makes the title undeniable. Even before the egg fully hatches, Verena already congratulates him on sealing the contract. The shell turns to ash, revealing a tiny chick, Biora. Ecstatic, Verena shifts to her human form, entrusting her child to Leo. Biora appears as a simple red chick, adorably unassuming. By noon, most students had already returned to the beach, each bearing harmless summons common to the forest's edge. Miss Yura asked her aide Carlo how much time the remaining students had, noting they'd only have 5 minutes left. As she'd predicted, only the 4 standout students remained. A thunderous roar echoed from the woods as a massive bear barreled out, flattening trees in its wake. Riding the beast's back was the scruffy Chinxia, who tamed an aqua bear cub as a future knight, an impressive feat. Yet her arrival was eclipsed by the ominous shadow looming over her tamed creature. The silent student captured a shadow crow, now soaring on its talon toward the beach to farm aura. Even elite summoner families struggle to tame a shadow crow. He's only secured one and hasn't formed a contract yet he meets Miss Yura's expectations. Moments later, panic erupted as a pristine white serpent slithered onto the beach, with Eliza astride it. Eliza arrogantly claimed she contracted the Gorgon snake simply because her family lacked one. She's just filling the Pokédex. Carlo finally rang the bell, signaling the end of the exam. At the last second the final student arrived. Unlike the others' grand entrances, Leo calmly strolled onto the beach with a tiny chick perched on his head. While his peers inspired fear, Leo radiated pure cuteness. His clueless classmates erupted in laughter, mocking him for taming a chicken. After seeing his weak summons, as the laughter rang out, Miss Yura felt a cold dread crawl down her spine and cursed under her breath. This fool just presented a phoenix for the first trial. By sunset the freshman summoning class ended, and the students were escorted back to the academy. Though everyone else was done, Leo still had business to settle. He adjusted his tie. He knocked on the office door. A sweet voice called him inside. He opened the door to find Professor Yura bathed in sunset light, casually dressed, who set aside her work and ushered him to sit. Miss Yura admitted she'd never before seen a baby phoenix. She confessed she hadn't even known a mystical summon existed on Summoner Island. A freshman bonding with a phoenix is no small feat. It's an unprecedented triumph in the Academy's history. Closing in, she tangled his hair, eyes sharp, and declared she knew his true nature. Leo swallowed hard, fearing his secret had slipped out, but her tight embrace and praise as a groundbreaking summoning prodigy eased his nerves. Though proud, she urged that his phoenix contract remain hidden, for now. Unleashing that bombshell would ignite chaos in an instant. She urges him to declare summoning as his major the moment exploratory classes end, convinced his raw talent will forge a legendary hero, though the odds are brutal. At dawn, Lumen Academy basked in a radiant sunrise. Chloe drifted through the corridors, eyes heavy and yawns escaping. Car spotted her yawn and ribbed her, warning her mouth might rip open. Exhaustion clung to Chloe after countless late-night magic sessions. Spotting the girl he'd collided with days earlier, Leo fished out Chloe Mueller's ID and handed it back. She thanked the freshman rep, sparing herself a replacement application. She found it odd that Leo, too, was attending magic lectures. He figured that during the exploratory phase he'd sit in every lecture, while Chloe only bothered with magic classes. Carr leaned in, telling his friend that the iceborn Chloe was gunning for the Magic Division's summit. Unfortunately, Carr's whisper carried, and Chloe heard every word. A chill swept the room when Chloe fixed her gaze on him, and Carr tried to slip away. An imposing ice pillar erupted, blocking his escape. The crystal-clear column threatened to trap Carr within the frozen mass. With no exit, Chloe hauled him to the front row, forcing him to sit up and listen. Moments later, a familiar face entered the hall. In fact, twins Abad and Chelsea Llewellyn, renowned mage heirs, joined the class. When the door flung open, the room's energy shifted instantly. The moment he stepped through the door, he instantly seized everyone's gaze, and as he approached the podium, the girls blush and whisper about the handsome new professor. Sporting a slick back, a sharp tie and immaculate attire, Len Hors introduced himself as the first-year Magic Division professor. He rolled in a thick stack of papers, poised to launch a dramatic start to today's exploratory class. With a flick of his finger, the stack burst from his desk, scattering across the room. It landed neatly on every student's desk. To start, he handed out a surprise magic theory test, administered before any lecture. Professor Lenhorst warned that anyone failing will be expelled from his class. Now that they're all Lumen Academy students, this will be the new standard. After the test, they hand their sheets to Anna, the bright-hearted assistant who contrasts sharply with the stern Professor Lenhorst. Leo takes the biggest hit. The moment he reads the first question he realizes he's doomed, completely out of touch with modern magic. The tangled formulas blur before his eyes. As the clock ticks, each student scrambles to squeeze every ounce of thought into the intricate problems. With each grain slipping in the hourglass, tension spikes. This exam decides their fate as future magic heroes. When time's up, they chatter about the test's unexpected ease, yet even the brightest stumble on the final question. Leo, however, is a wreck, managing only one answer despite his frantic effort. Handing in his trembling paper, he wishes he'd studied modern magic beforehand. Feeling hopeless, he bolts from the hall, too ashamed to stay, vowing to self-study magic. In a century, magic has leapt forward, once demanding deep mastery, now reduced to memorizing tedious activation triggers. Professor Horst swiftly scanned the exams, noting Bro's barehanded, no-tool attempt. Leo laments that magic's shift to rote memorization has dulled modern mages. After grading the tests, the professor flaunted his magic for the class. He conjured a radiant orb, flooding the hall with mysterious runes and otherworldly symbols swirling around. This display embodies the magic he forged, a step-by-step algorithm of his own design. His aim: train students to research and forge their own magic. Hence the surprise test on day 1. The exam featured 49 one-point questions, each testing memorization of progressively tougher concepts. The final question, worth 51 points, probes magic's true essence. Horst hopes his students will one day solve it. Chelsea exhales in relief, knowing no one else cracked that question. She hadn't even a clue where to begin. She spots Leo's empty seat, his exam abandoned, and a pang of disappointment hits. She'd have liked to study magic with him. After the professor's fiery address, Anna rushes to his side, whispering urgently. She informs him quietly, a student nailed the 50th question, astonishing the stern professor. Lenhorst's stoic facade shatters as he bursts into hearty laughter before the class. He challenges the room, who just became the first to solve the 50th question on the first try and earn a perfect score. Horst blushes, salivating at the prospect of shaping a generational magic prodigy. Anna corrects him, noting the student didn't achieve a perfect score, still impressive given the time spent on the final part. Then, in a hushed tone, Anna drops the bomb. The student only solved the last question, leaving the other 49 untouched. The professor demanded the student's name, and Anna handed him Leo Plav's file. Professor Horst shouted Leo's name, but Leo had already slipped out, unnoticed even by his friends. Breaking the tense silence, Chelsea raised her hand and explained that Leo left immediately after the exam. His score was a bizarre outlier. He aced only the final question, earning the highest mark overall. The classroom buzz followed Leo to the cafeteria, where Celia mocked his exam disaster. After summoning a cute chick, Leo crashed in magic class, and Celia urged him to focus on swordsmanship, his true major. Their chat was cut short as a looming presence hovered behind Leo. Professor Horst, enraged, accused him of mocking the class. He confronted Leo, asking if the questions were so easy he abandoned them. Leo rose, clarified the misunderstanding, admitting he believed he had no chance of passing. To him, every question but the last was impossibly hard, leaving him clueless where to begin. He admitted he'd self-studied from ancient grimoires, leaving him out of touch with contemporary magic. A spark of idea lit in the professor's mind, and he lifted the startled Leo off the floor as gently as a cat. As he released him, Leo felt bewildered like never before. The professor's eyes glittered with excitement, urging Leo to follow him. Before Leo could protest, Professor Horst seized his collar and hauled him out of the cafeteria like a delighted child with a new toy. Celia froze, witnessing the eccentric professor of magical theory for the first time, while assistant Anna missed him by mere seconds. Anna's brief hesitation let the professor slip away. She couldn't verify that Horst wasn't up to something odd. Breathless, she scrambled after the frantic professor. He escorted Leo straight to his office. He began scrawling intricate magic theory problems on the chalkboard. Then he challenged the boy to solve them on the spot. He reasoned that if Leo cracked the final question by luck, he must already possess his own magic system. Professor Horst watched, eager for Leo to reveal a brand new magical framework through his answers. Yet within seconds, Leo had already written the final solution on the board. Startled, the professor asked if Leo had mentally solved every problem he posed. In essence, that's exactly what Leo did. The professor hit the jackpot. After years of mediocrity, he finally found a seed worth nurturing into a true hero. Outside, Professor Broho Satoru strolled the halls, minding his own affairs. Little does he know, his calm day is about to be disrupted by an overeager colleague. Professor Horst sprinted over, flashing an earnest grin and sparkling eyes. He refused to indulge, knowing his coworker's smile would shatter his calm. He turned and retreated while Lenhorst clutched his ankles, thanking him frantically like a hyperactive dog. Professor Albee resorted to magic to repel Lenhorst, who'd been disruptive before but was crossing the line today. Unfazed even while suspended, Professor Horst seized the moment to thank everyone for uncovering Leo Plav's brilliance. Albee puzzled over why a magic zealot would hail a trainee knight as a magical prodigy. The mention of knighthood sparked Professor Horst's fury. He demanded Leo become a sorcerer, refusing to let his talent waste on a sword. At last, Assistant Anna caught up, hearing him rant that steering Leo toward knighthood insulted sorcery. Albee let him crash to the floor. The professor gratefully acknowledged Anna's quick catch. After sprinting across campus, the assistant's sunny demeanor fades as she orders them back to class. Leo strides past the chaos, unbothered. Professor Albee flashes him a reassuring smile. He concludes sorcerers are timeless lunatics. A week post-debacle, classes end and Leo relaxes on the roof. He reads Far From Drama, delving into his own legacy. Now branded a fraud, Kyle wrestles with a world that moved on without him. As he ponders time on the rooftop, first-year professors hustle through the halls. They crash into the principal's office, complaints in hand. Professor Ellen clutches Leo Plav's application form. The students' majors are knighthood, sorcery, and summoning, the three core hero disciplines. Seeing the kids' raw talent, professors clash to claim them, stunned by a pupil mastering every major, a first in any hero academy, while they insist each should specialize. Principal Badian chuckled, likening Leo to the legendary heroes of storybooks. The professors fell silent at the principal's words. Principal Badian invoked the prophecy of the fifth great hero, the hero of the beginning. Kyle is famed as the sole person ever to master every class. Celia and Chelsea gasped for breath, sprinting around the track. Carr found Leo lounging under a tree and wondered why the girls trained so hard on a weekend. Chelsea begged Leo for training. He agreed, though their drills boiled down to endless laps. Leo replied that beyond weapons, a hero needs boundless stamina, hence the relentless cardio. Chelsea is now convinced that stamina is the battle mage's greatest asset. During break, the girls swarmed to Leo, who handed them water to hydrate. Surprisingly, Chelsea enjoys weekend stamina drills and wants to run alongside Leo. When Celia heard that, she spat out her water, the trauma of training with Leo flooding back. He'll lead the run, though Celia swears she'll never join him again. Observing their interaction, Carr interrogated Celia and Leo, even suspecting they were dating. Celia cleared the air. They're only cousins. Leo is her paternal aunt's son. The reveal that Leo carries Zerdinger blood stunned both Carr and Chelsea. Finally, Leo rose, stretched, and joined the women for another brutal cardio session. Not one to idle, Carr left, intent on exploring more of Lemuria City. Celia tried to follow Leo through the serene city, but he already hauled his cousin by the hair. Training day had begun. Carr scoffed, convinced none of the nobles in his circle possessed a shred of dignity. At last, the long-awaited class assignment day arrived. Leo headed to his assigned room, Class 1-5. Inside, Carr was already seated, beckoning a friend to the adjacent chair. The shrewd businessman arrived first, already aware of his assignment. Carr's knack for intel is unrivaled. Chelsea occupied another seat, looking half-dead after a grueling weekend of Leo's training. Carr inquired about Leo's torment for the girls. Leo replied they only covered the basics. 2 low-rank extras peeked into Class 5, the class of anguish, sneering about how many juniors would survive the semester. A lazy voice cut them off, declaring the mocking seniors even more pitiful. The extras spun around, their blood instantly chilling. A disheveled man with dark, tangled hair and a scruffy beard loomed, his aura oppressive. He was Herod Edmund, homeroom teacher of Class 1-5, dubbed the Wailing Wall. He commanded the extras to form a human chair, and they obeyed in terror. Sitting on their makeshift throne, he derided his class as worthless dregs, labeling Class 1-5 the lowest scoring, failure-prone cohort. Professor Edmund was certain the students already whispered rumors about him. He asked if anyone knew why he'd taken on the cursed class as advisor. Carr raised his hand, replying that the Wailing Wall stepped in to lift everyone's grades. Edmund, already aware of Carr Thomas's full name, noted the answer fit a student ranked dead last, then shifted. "Does anyone here grasp Illumin Academy students' duty?" Chelsea boldly answered. "Our duty is to capture the hero's world to practice missions." "Correct," Edmund replied, but his eyes lingered on faces destined to die minutes after stepping into the hero's world. "Then why not expel these weaklings who only drag their teammates down?" He sneered, exactly why he seized Class 5. "That's why they call me the Wailing Wall." As fear rippled through the room, Leo remained a lone stone, unmoved. Edmund silently judged that Leo could survive a drop into the hero's realm right now. "Change you to training gear and meet me on the drills," he commanded. "First day, first combat lesson," he announced. Class 5 obeyed, lining up on the track in seconds. While the sun beat down, Edmund erected a massive umbrella, a lawn chair, and chilled drinks, ready to reshape their corrupted mindsets. He posed a final query. "What will truly save them when the real world turns cruel and fragile?" Nella Carvin, a shy knight major with a rare healing aura, meekly replied she'd be saved by her comrades. Edmund retorted that only their own skill can save them, master danger, then protect others, and asked who trusted their own power. A bright, fiery voice rang out, declaring confidence in her abilities. To test her, the professor demanded she conjure a fireball to prove she's a true magical knight. The bold, upbeat Eliana Layden, a dual-class magical knight, stepped forward. After she launched her fireball, Edmund remained unconvinced. He scoffed, calling its size and heat barely enough to kill an ant. Fueled by his taunt, Eliana poured extra mana into her spell. She birthed 2 massive fireballs, engulfing the arena in a raging inferno. Edmund sneered, mock-praising the display while sipping his juice box. Summoning a tiny wind orb, he challenged Eliana to strike it with her fireball. The orb transformed into a mischievous wind spirit, soaring freely. It darted toward Eliana, mockingly brushing her nose. It sneered at her flames. The hot-tempered Eliana seethed with fury. She unleashed fireballs in every direction, desperate to clip the pesky spirit. But her mana drained on attacks that never landed. Professor Edmund cut in. "What's the use of bigger, more numerous spells if you can't hit?" He reminded them the lesson was mastering effective skill use. They must sharpen their abilities and exceed their limits. That's the hero's path. The Wailing Wall smiled, declaring class wouldn't end until someone captured his wind spirit, Sylph. Leo listened silently, aware the professor's harsh words ring true. He decides to give the class a shot, catch the Sylph. As the class sprints around the track, Professor Edmund fixes his gaze on Leo Plav, determined to see if he's just another empty talker like the legend Kyle. Yet even with everyone joining the hunt, the Sylph darts circles around them effortlessly. From afar, Leo channels his aura, anchoring it to his feet. He bursts forward like a scarlet cannonball, leaving chaos behind. His speed hits its peak, focus razor-sharp. Perhaps he truly is the first all-class hero. Carr and Chelsea are already winded, unable to match the lightning-fast spirit. Our hero surged forward, his entire form ignited with a blazing aura. Employing the advanced aura step technique, he vaulted skyward, targeting the Sylph's blind spot. Harnessing aura step's gravity and momentum, he dove down, giving the Sylph no chance to evade. He missed by a hair, his first strike falling just short. Yet his grin revealed no disappointment. He deftly shaped the swirling aura in his palm, creating a luminous thread that latched onto the Sylph's foot, anchoring the wind spirit for capture. Before any Class 5 could claim it, lightning-fast Duran snatched the stunned Sylph. As expected, his speed was phenomenal, but the Sylph fell only because Leo's aura thread halted its flight. Yet the brat's smug grin remains utterly irritating. A new figure entered the field, clapping gleefully. It's Sejin, the pompous homeroom teacher of Class 1-1, currently second in the graduation poll, blazing his class's talent and offering to teach the fifth-year students. Meanwhile, Professor Edmund lounges in his chair, sipping a juice box and ignoring the chaos. He hands the day's lesson to a colleague. Although Sejin sits second in the poll, the relaxed professor consistently tops the list each year. Students, especially Kar, are eager for the showdown between the two pillars of Lamine Academy, both veterans of 20-plus years whose former apprentices include Professors Ein, Jura and Len. Caught in his ramble, the adorable Nella Carvin asks, "How do you know so much about the academy?" Unfortunately, the boy lacks any charisma and tends to scare everyone away. Professor Sejin scoffs, intrigued by his rival's mysterious plans for the troublesome freshman class. He challenges Class 5 to a showdown against his own Class 1. The contest will be the Academy's legendary ball game, Batera. Professor Edmund rises, hailing Sejin a genius. He shakes Sejin's hand, insisting that hands-on experience is supreme. Having accepted, Edmund reclines, delegating all officiating to Sejin. Sejin can't understand why he constantly loses the graduation vote to the laid-back Edmund, his students watching with pity. The Wailing Wall reminds Class 5 that the Batera match is their chance to hone their skills. He adds a stark warning, lose, and the entire class faces expulsion. The news stuns the students, many of whom have never even met him before. And their rival? Class 1, armed with 3 captains. Herod brushes off excuses, demanding they push even harder. He assures them there's little left to fear. After all, they have the freshman's champion on their side. He orders Leo to pick 6 competitors for the match. Pondering the command, Leo senses a hidden test. It isn't disdain. The newcomers have already lost their fire. With morale shattered, Leo suspects Herod wants him to rally the hopeless Class 5. Class 1's instructor conjures the arena with a burst of magic. Leo believes the Batera bout could be the key to lift his classmates out of despair. The Academy's elite leadership now squares off against Class 5. Even Chelsea is breaking into a cold sweat. She rushes to brief Leo on Batera, a centuries-old combat sport the Academy reveres. To her, it sounds no different from a simple ball game. Thomas cuts in, warning it's far deadlier than any playground match. Sword-wielding Celia taunts Chelsea. She looks pale, defeated. Celia's bait sparks Chelsea's fury, vowing never to surrender. Leo stays ice-cold, urging everyone to chill. Victory is within reach. Celia, seething, is eager to flaunt her training results. Chloe is determined to defeat the freshman rep, vowing a different outcome this time. Sejin orders everyone to enter the arena. Leo scans his classmates, seeking volunteers. Chelsea and Eliana step forward, knowing loss means expulsion and fighting with everything they've got. Thomas and the rest swiftly follow. Leo signals the professor. Class 5 is ready. Sejin brandishes the ball and flings it skyward. Every player on both sides locks eyes on the soaring ball. Duran and Leo dive for the ball as the match erupts. But Lightning Boy, a blur of speed, a split second faster, snatches it, seizing the initiative. With the game barely underway, Leo decides now's the perfect moment to learn the rules. The rules are simple. Channel aura into the ball and launch it into the goal without touching it. First team to 11 points claims victory. Duran goes on a rampage, hurling the ball at thunderous speed. Leo dodges at the last heartbeat. Thomas barely registers the ball as it rockets past, slamming into the net. Duran of Class 1 nets the opening goal. It has already deepened Class 5's despair. Tide feels the pressure, fearing everyone will be expelled. Leo now asks how to obtain the ball. 3 methods exist: claim it when it goes out of bounds on the opponent's turn, catch it, or... Just as Tide is about to reveal the third method, Celia's explosive throw shatters the moment, brutally knocking Eliana down. The Sword Princess jeers, scolding them for chatting instead of focusing on the game. Eliana's situation looks dire. Since players can't directly attack or block, the third method forces an opponent out of the game. The only way? Strike opponents using the ball. Leo, fed up, snatches the ball. He decides it's the perfect moment to strike back. Eliana collapses, costing Class 5 another player. The 2 professors watch the battle intently. Sejin notes that fire element teams dominate the game. Zerdinger's house wields the fiercest flames of all. He puzzles over Herod's gamble, aware the Sword Princess sits in Class 1, seeming impossible for Herod's team to rally. The indifferent professor merely yawns, dismissing his concerns. Herod turns to Sejin, recalling his first Zerdinger pupil. She's the feared empress of Batera, a true monster on the field. Herod proudly announces his child now fights for Class 5. The revelation rattles Sejin to his core. The match resumes. Class 5 whines, lamenting their choice to join the academy. Celia spots Leo igniting his flame. She sees his resolve finally solidify. He charges a searing fireball, unleashing it at a terrifying velocity. Only Chloe's icicle mountain can halt its fury. She flaunts her triumph, convinced she's stopped his strike. Leo materializes beside her, reads her like an open book, and declares he'll score no matter what. He leaps upward, smashing the ball with a thunderous punch. The blow tears Chloe's barrier apart like soft butter. Even Sejin nods, impressed by the freshman's razor-sharp battle IQ. Class 5 erupts in cheers, rallying behind their new champion. The Class 1 professor finally realizes the real match is just beginning. Suddenly, a torrent of golden points erupts, flooding the scoreboard. and the tally skyrockets. He rockets his score up to 9. The clash against 10 leaves many players incapacitated. Lightning-fast Duran unleashes his strike. He hopes this throw will end the match. Thomas ultimately sacrifices his own body. He pours everything into stopping the ball, catching it as his mana wanes. Thomas collapses, tying the teams. Class 5 now has only Leo, while Class 1 retains all 3 captains. Their sheer numbers spell a severe disadvantage. Ice Mage Chloe, still bitter from her last defeat, readies revenge. She summons countless copies to bolster her defenses. Leo launches his final leap. Celia and Duran watch. His feet spring off the ground. He blitzes with inhuman speed. The 3 captains gasp at his vanishing velocity. Leo flash steps so fast that he dribbles past Celia unnoticed, bypassing a head-on clash to target the goal. Chloe now bears the entire defense. She scrambles to spot the real Leo among the copies. Even analyzing his magic exhausts her as Leo zooms by. Chloe hits the ground, defeated. She wonders how a mere human can wield elf magic. Not even the 3 captains can stop him. Class 5 claims the decisive victory. The crowd erupts, chanting Leo's name. The Class 5 team celebrates, having escaped expulsion. Sejin learns Herod staged the death grounds just to win. The 3 captains are left shattered. Sejin knows he must confront them. He approaches Chloe, asking if she's bitter about the loss. He tells her that, win or lose, they must honor their opponents as tradition dictates. He acknowledges their effort to clinch victory for Class 1. Sejin brims with pride for both the diligent students and the supportive cheerleaders. His radiant words uplift the crowd, stealing their hearts. Herod, however, spares no poetry. He bluntly brands them losers, provoking irritation. Both classes gave their all on the field. Class 1 showcased their raw talent. Class 5 displayed relentless perseverance, fighting to the final whistle. Sejin stresses that surpassing their limits secured the win, urging both rival classes to learn from one another. They clasp hands, rivalry burning bright. Celia provokes Chelsea. Chelsea fires back with her own barb. Thomas grins wildly as he shakes Duran's hand. Duran watches, pale as a phantom. Chloe teeters on the edge of tears and shame. Leo reaches out, lauding Chloe's effort and insisting a bit more experience could make her extraordinary. She initially reads his praise as mockery, but his earnest gaze convinces her. She reconsiders, vowing to surpass Leo someday. He shakes his hand. A month later, the trio dines together as Thomas asks about their club plans. Leo declares he wants to start a club, driving Thomas crazy. Chelsea, his biggest fan, volunteers to join on the spot. He names it the Hero Research Society. Though odd, Leo aims to uncover the lost hero Kyle, dismissed as mere myth. Thomas doubts anyone will sign up, yet Chelsea is genuinely eager to join. A sudden commotion erupts nearby. It snaps Thomas to the day's significance. Today the 5th-year seniors return, fresh from clearing the dungeon. Scattered hero record fragments sometimes spawn dungeons themselves, known as hero dungeons. Academy seniors tackle these hero dungeons, retrieve fragments, and disappear for weeks, sometimes months. Leo assumes his mother once braved similar raids. Chelsea spots the seniors and recognizes them as the Academy's elite. Enter the hulking Easterner, Lee Jemua. Beside him stands the Southern beauty, Torawayan. Lastly comes Ulta, the comfort clothing aficionado. Yet one is absent, the Academy's strongest, Council President Reese. Thomas begins to speak of him when, suddenly, our boy vanishes. Rumor says the feds whisked him away for being too OP. Just kidding. Celia darts outside, pulling him along. It turns out Reese, the Council President himself, has called our boy in for a private meeting. Leo, confused, asks why the sudden summons. Celia thinks he's clueless about school affairs but will explain when he arrives. He takes a seat that leaves Celia puzzled. Then the Sword Princess leaps to hug her brother. Yes, you heard that right. Reese, her brother, is thrilled to meet Leo, who aims for top of the class. They share a dumpling feast together. Yet, for some reason, Celia fidgets, uneasy about tasting it for the first time. She plunges a bite into the dish. Instantly, the flavor thrills her palate. Her brother finally brings her to this eatery, eager to meet Leo, whose mother once commanded legendary respect. He recalls how Leo's mother was famed throughout her school days. She was the overachiever who chased every legend. She even bragged, dismissing the Academy's desserts as inferior. Once, she rallied the entire student body to storm the principal's office. Celia gasps at the notorious tale. The siblings share a moment of delighted chatter. Meanwhile, Leo, awed by Reese, deems him truly the Academy's pinnacle. Soon, he's on the path to become a hero. Reese declares it's dessert time. He orders them out as he settles the bill. Just as they head out, Reese spots a mysterious item tucked in his blazer. He can't explain its presence. The focus shifts to Herod's classroom. Eliana, eager, readies a question. He bluntly dismisses her query as pathetic before she even speaks. She asks why Class 5 still lacks a representative. The other classes have already chosen theirs. Herod shrugs, admitting he forgot to pick a rep. Too lazy to decide, he simply appoints Leo. Eliana and Ty drag the clueless teacher into a real election. They soon realize why staying silent is safer. He just wants the rep to handle all the paperwork for him. A broadcast orders everyone to enroll in the Hero Studies joint class. Freshmen are summoned to the auditorium. Leo asks if they should head out now. The teacher nods, approving his suggestion. In the auditorium, Leo and Thomas collide. Chloe collapses, utterly exhausted. She looks like a zombie, begging the alchemist for recovery potions. He hands her his last remaining potions. Leo worries she's overexerting herself so early in the year. Chloe gulps the potions, ignoring Leo's warning. As the top magic theory student, she fears losing her lead. She knows Leo will soon master modern magic and outshine her in the exam. Thomas fails to grasp the pain of second place, prompting Chelsea to remind him of Chloe's status as the tower's premier magician. While battle mages ignore theory, for Chloe, research is the tower's lifeblood. Her pride hangs in the balance. Chelsea scoffs, wondering if the alchemist is even a real mage. Even after the potions, Chloe looks drained and spots something odd. Headmaster Callian watches the damaged hero's page flare unexpectedly. Reese hands over the page, insisting it reacted to an unknown trigger. The page is inexplicably scarred. No relic was nearby, yet it reacted. Callian asks whether it reacted after the incident. He learns it hasn't shown any further response. Deep in thought, Callian decides to investigate the matter alone. He orders Reese to rest, noting his recent return from the mission. Callian summons his aide Elena for a briefing. He brings the damaged hero's page to the Hall of Beginnings, insisting it be shown at the first-year joint class. Tiny fragments can react when the hero named on the page touches them. Leo, though no one realizes it yet. The auditorium buzzes as the first years begin their inaugural joint class. The clamor forces the normally sweet Professor Artian to demand silence. They ignore her plea, continuing to chatter carelessly. Fed up, Artian erupts in fiery fury. She snarls a chilling warning, "Stay silent, or you'll die." Her shy charm snaps to ruthless cruelty as she curses them for their stupidity. A sudden shock hits Artian when the room finally quiets. She regains her delicate, shy demeanor, pretending nothing just occurred. While the others break into a cold sweat, they've learned to accept her terrifying intensity when required. Leo, having witnessed her abilities, deems her a spiritualist, a rarity even in his past life. Artian kicks off the lesson brandishing a dagger. She explains the hero record's emergence and the origins of the hero clans. Opening a hero's world demands a sentimental relic, a personal medium. Thus, a hero's descendants can breach their world with ease. This is why the Academy safeguards the hero's records, to honor the bonds forged between families. Think of it as a key fitting a treasure chest. Leo, impressed, leans in, eager for what comes next. Artian stresses hero studies as the key to unlocking a hero's world. As seniors advance, they'll select a hero to draw power from and clear their pages. Elena's abrupt entrance cuts the professor's explanation short. She reveals a hero record fragment the 50-year students just retrieved. The mystical shard sends the class into a roar of excitement. She pries the fragment open just enough, then she snaps it shut. Artian urges them to speak their intentions before they glimpse the fragment's power, asking what they'll do as future heroes. Celia leaps forward, declaring she'll become the strongest knight in her family's line, earning Artian's admiration. Chloe, meanwhile, aims to craft a spellbook that chronicles her own original creations. The students trade ambitions with one another. Thomas aims to support the hero candidates. Finally, Leo rises to announce his bold ambition. He vows to annihilate Erebos once and for all. His proclamation silences both classmates and faculty. Artian steadies the lesson, though Leo's words shake her. Other classes whisper, dismissing his goal as empty rhetoric. Professor Herod is baffled, knowing Leo never speaks without purpose. Erebos has been shattered and sealed for a millennium, yet its fragments have resurfaced recently. Even a single fragment can unleash catastrophic destruction. But this kid has dared the impossible. He aims to annihilate not just a fragment, but all of Erebos. Artian now opens the hero's record, letting each class guess a page before revealing how to cleanse a hero's world and warning them of unforeseen complications. She reminds them that the professors are watching, so they must avoid reckless behavior. The students, thrilled and tongue-tied, finally get to touch a hero's record. Artian calls each class's representative forward. Celia, representing Class 1. Leo, representing Class 5, then Bad and Chen from the remaining classes. Although 2 dungeon fragments were recovered, only one will be used for today's lesson. The second, smaller piece will still be displayed to illustrate the differing shapes. Leo steps forward, touching the fragment. Instantly, the hero record flares open. Its name and chapter remain concealed. Even the professors fret as the record reacts violently. They're ripped into the nameless hero's shattered world, a realm of ruin. Before them lies a battlefield strewn with monster corpses. The group scrambles to seize control of the sudden chaos. Professor Edmund orders everyone to brace for a hero dungeon. Quick-thinking Professor Sejan spots a distant fortress wall. Leo recognizes it as the Age of Catastrophe's final defense. If his theory holds, it's the walls of Garda's lawn. With the timeline aligned, only Leo knows what's happening. From afar he hears a familiar voice call his old name, Kyle, apologizing that her unfulfilled wish was foolish. The voice belongs to a woman now revered as a legend. She's Lycina's, an original hero and Kyle's comrade, whose once foolish wish was to save the world, and they did. Seeing a friend from millennia past floods Leo with overwhelming emotions. Confronting Lysinas on this shattered battlefield exceeds his wildest dreams. Her smile illuminates the entire hero's dungeon. Reality shatters, hurling everyone back to the material world. The sudden shift occurs when Kyle snatches the tiny unknown hero's record meant only for display. Chisha panics, asking the professors what just happened, but they have no answer. Exasperated, Professor Edmund announces class suspension, urging calm and an orderly exit from the auditorium. As the crowd stumbles out in confusion, Leo remains at the podium, clutching the torn scrap, lost in thought. He's convinced the scrap is his, Kyle's, page, the key to his mission. Professor Edmund watches, intrigued by Leo's deep contemplation. When the chaos dies down, the students scatter to empty classrooms, as the day's classes are cancelled. In a vacant room, Leo recounts their glimpse of the legendary Lysinas, the king of wisdom. Chelsea's eyes sparkle, realizing the academy has uncovered her hero's record, a historic moment. Eliana clenches her fist, angry that she missed the chance for class president and the golden opportunity, while Carr rolls his eyes, doubting she ever stood a chance. Provoked, Elian launches a flurry of punches at the unsuspecting boy. The noise draws Professor Edmund, who storms in to chastise them for the disturbance. He offers a stark choice: stay for self-study or face expulsion, his sly grin leaving them unsure if he's joking. As the professor left, the students fell silent, avoiding any further trouble. Lost in thought, Leo wondered why his hero record lay in tatters, its world unrecognizable even to him. The opening prompt concealed both the world's name and the record's chapter. It seemed someone deliberately shattered his record, erasing a legacy that grants a hero's power. Sabotaging a record signals a desire to block a new hero's rise. The prime suspect is Erebos, fragmented yet limitless, fueling Leo's burning drive to uncover the truth. A month of dull school days slipped by after the record fiasco. Switch to the magic department, where flamboyant Professor Horst outlines the midterm. First years must craft original magic. The prospect of unique magic sends a chill through the novice mages. Original magic showcases a mage's individuality and power, yet in today's era of standard activation techniques, few dare to forge their own spells. Original magic can become a hidden ace for life or death moments. Its roots trace to star magic, an elf's basic spell and a mere echo of true original magic, wielded fully only by Luna, Nebula's founder and legendary hero. When Professor Horst stressed the midterms, Chloe's eyes narrowed. Beside her, Leo spotted a strange book on her desk. The book exuded a dark, unsettling aura that sent shivers down his spine. Noticing Leo's curiosity, Chloe swiftly slipped the tome into her bag. "That looks like a grimoire," Leo whispered, just as Professor Horst dismissed the class, wishing them luck crafting their own spells. As the freshmen drifted out, Leo lunged after Chloe, seizing her hand. She shot him an indignant glare, stunned. Leo flashed a smile, inviting her to lunch, though he had his own agenda. Seeing her slyly conceal the grimoire sharpened his curiosity. Chloe swatted his hand aside, claiming she's too busy, already focused on beating him in the upcoming exam. Just as tension peaked, Carr breezed in, teasing Leo as a rascal daring to challenge the Ice Queen's top spot. Though she trails Leo in technique, she refuses to let anyone outshine her in pure magic. Clenching her fists, she swore to claim the midterm title at any cost. Leo realized backing down would betray her fierce determination. So, like a true sportsman, Leo extended his hand and she accepted, promising to train hard, her gaze as icy as the Ice Queen herself. From the sidelines, Carr watched, amazed by Leo's sly hand-stealing technique. As the sun set, Leo stepped into the towering Hall of Heroes. He'd heard the forbidden Lumini Academy library hides within its depths, a possible key to his erased record. Climbing the marble stairwell, his aura caught the attention of senior students. Near the summit, a voice called his full name. A tan-skinned senior with curly hair and round glasses, a true standout, appeared. Chewing bubblegum, she introduced herself as Toru Ayan, a fifth-year magic prodigy praised by Professor Len Horse. Leo bowed politely, offering a brief greeting without reading too much into the encounter. As he tried to move on, Toru stretched a leg, blocking his path and demanding a first year's purpose in the tower. He answered honestly. He was there to meet the student council president. Impressed by his confidence, Toru's curiosity was sparked. She warned that if he devoted himself solely to the magic department, the tower would flood him with opportunities. She pressed the point even though he was already enrolled. Terua finally withdrew her leg, and Leo moved on, thanking her for the courtesy. With a thinly veiled threat, she insisted he name magic as his primary focus before the semester ends. Her message was crystal clear. It was up to him to decide how to interpret it. Leo answered with his signature polite smile. When he reached the top of the staircase, he ran into a group of seniors heading even higher in an elevator. He slipped inside and pressed the button for the 9th floor. To his embarrassment, the panel wouldn't respond no matter how many times he pressed it. He hammered the button repeatedly, the stubborn lift testing his patience as he risked being stuck there. A friendly voice revealed that the button only activates when fueled by mana. The voice belonged to another senior, more upbeat and polite than Terua. The kind-looking, broad-shouldered fifth year from the night department, Lee Zamua, flashed the first-year rep a toothy grin. Leo bowed politely again, returned the greeting, and, like Terua, was asked by Lee what brought him to the Tower of Heroes. He smiled and replied that he was there for a meeting with the student council president. Lee's interest piqued. Rarely does a freshman show such boldness, marching straight into the president's office without a hint of fear. He suggested Leo seriously consider the night department as his primary path. Tired of the same old pitch, Leo let out a dry laugh. After countless interruptions that stalled the conversation, Leo finally arrived, knocked, introduced himself, and asked President Reese for entry. A warm voice from behind the door beckoned him in. President Reese, buried in paperwork at dusk, greeted Leo with a smile. He cut straight to the chase, sparing the president's time. Leo demanded access to the Academy's forbidden library. Reese's expression hardened. He knew Leo wasn't one for games. He explained the stakes. Only 2 paths lead to the sacred forbidden library. First, conquering a hero dungeon and returning its pages to the hero record. Realizing that route was out of reach, Leo pressed for the second option. Reese leaned forward, eyes narrowing. With a sly grin, he vowed to reveal the secret method once Leo joined the student council. Days later, after the senior confrontations, the night department's practical exam kicked off in the Academy's open-track stadium, drawing a massive crowd of students and faculty. True to his entrepreneurial streak, Carr rolled out a popcorn cart, declaring, "You can't watch the matches without popcorn." Chelsea watches, torn between awe and embarrassment, while Eliana thinks Carr would be filthy rich if he weren't stuck in La Money. Leo joins his freshman peers, scans the crowd, and notes Chloe's absence. Professor Ein looms on the track. He scowls at the students, underscoring the test's gravity, then calls the opening sparring pair. First up, Class 1's Hall Snafe, a serpentine youth with a duplicitous grin. His challenger, Class 5's Leo Plav, as they stride onto the stage, electrifying the arena. From the stands, Carr scans for customers, his gaze fixed on Professor Sejin. He darts toward the gruff professor, eager for sales. Holding samples, he offers Professor Sejin a popcorn and drink combo for the upcoming match. Snobbish Carr sneered, dismissing popcorn as beneath him. Only slobs like Professor Edmund Harlan would buy it. Realizing the professor wouldn't budge, he scanned Class 1 for backup. Celia, nearby, caught his drift instantly. She cranked up her cute charm, asking if the professor would treat the class to popcorn. With the bait set, Carr rallied Class 1 to cheer the professor's generosity. Their chants softened Professor Sejin's snobbery. Beneath it, he's a diligent teacher craving student approval. Yielding, the professor ordered Carr to hand out single popcorn drink combos, boosting Carr's booming sales. The opening match combatants assumed their positions. Leo, smirking cockily, told his foe he was lucky to be the first target. Sensing Leo's dismissal, Hall Snafe, heir of the famed Snafe lineage, vowed to make the freshman regret underestimating him. Before the opening bout, our popcorn vendor breaks down the night department's midterm, a chain of duels where 5 wins secure a pass. Uncertainty ripples through the stands. Everyone knows Leo represents the first years, yet few have actually seen him fight. Hall ranks third in Class 1, trailing powerhouses Celia and Duran, wielding a spear laced with a sharp, toxic aura. He twirls his spear with lethal precision, recalling Leo only as the arrogant kid constantly shadowing Celia. Professor Ein's final warning echoes. The fighter who disables their opponent claims victory. Treat this as a real battle. The signal sounds. Leo freezes, sensing a dark aura he hasn't felt in ages. Strangely, the darkness doesn't emanate from his foe but drifts from Lumen's campus. The vile, slick energy seeps into his mind, delivering a grim premonition unknown to Leo. It stems from the library, where Chloe buries herself in countless magic tomes for the magic department's midterm. Her hastily scribbled formula merges with torn pages of half-baked ideas. The Ice Queen feels the pressure mounting. Despite her skill and knowledge, she can't conjure a winning unique spell. At her wit's end, she vents her frustration on the books strewn across her desk. Leo's lingering brilliance haunts her mind, gnawing inward, and her refusal to be bested drives her to the brink. Scanning the scattered tomes, one book seems to call out to her. It's the grimoire she's carried for months. Desperate, she trusts the grimoire as her sole chance to stay number 1, leaving her mind exposed to alien influence. The grimoire's dark aura is so intense it interferes with Leo's power during his opening bout. Spotting Leo's distraction, Hall closes in and thrusts his spear toward Leo's head. Fortunately, Leo snaps back and evades just in time. Reeling back, Hall unleashes his family's signature move, morphing his spear into a venom-coated, serpentine blade. His snake-like spear darted erratically, closing in on Leo's chest. Unflinching, Leo seized the spear with his bare hand, not even blinking. Hall's Snafe staggered. Stopping that strike must have taken massive force. Caught off guard, Hall dropped his grip as Leo ripped the weapon from him. Refusing to release, Hall was yanked along, looking like a clueless amateur when the spear pulled him in. Leo added insult to injury, slamming a hardened fist kiss onto Hall's cheek. The blows sent the snake boy careening across the arena like a rag doll. Though briefly distracted, Leo, a seasoned veteran, never repeats such carelessness. Humiliated, Hall pumped his aura to the limit, flooding the ring with toxic green mist and daring Leo to stop his showmanship. Hall figured that, since rumors claim Leo lacks aura, he could exploit his own strength. The swirling green fog proved his point. Leo ignited his fiery aura, mocking the rarity of poison auras. When the toxic mist neared, Leo effortlessly incinerated it, his confidence unshaken. Hall intensified his aura, convinced only flames matching Celia's could secure his victory, all while he swelled his ego. Leo closed the gap unharmed, ready to punish the arrogant boy. Leo sprinted forward like a JoJo hero, his fire utterly annihilating the poison. The arena's kaleidoscopic auras electrified the crowd, popcorn in hand. From the Class 1 seats, Duran observed, his scowl ever present. Celia stared in disbelief as Chelsea roared, admiring every move Leo made. Celia never imagined Leo had already amplified his flame to such terrifying heights. Hal Snafe, caught off guard by the approaching blaze, realized Leo's fire now rivaled Celia, the batch's top knight. Who would have guessed a scholar-majoring prodigy could fight like a true knight? Still, Hall steeled himself, ready to unleash the secret move he'd saved for a showdown with Celia. He never imagined he'd have to use it against Leo Plav in the midterm opener, shaping his aura into a poisonous serpent and hurling a snake prison at his foe. Intrigued, Leo let the serpent trap him, standing motionless as he studied its deadly form. Hall basked in his perceived brilliance, flashing a blush-tinged grin toward Celia in the stands. He'd crafted this technique to match Celia's flame, hopeful this debut would finally close the gap. In response to his shy flush, Celia sighed and gestured toward the opposite side of the arena. Hall's brief arrogance blinded him as Leo heated the snake prison, causing the serpent's body to bubble and sizzle. With a final surge, Leo incinerated the feeble aura spell effortlessly. Hall's eyes widened, his painstaking technique reduced to ash like a worthless spell. Furious, he abandoned his aura and thrust his spear forward. Leo never unsheathed his blade until the climax, then parried the spear with a force that ripped it from his foe's grasp. He pressed his blade to Hall's throat, warning, "Never lose sight of a flame, or you'll get burned." As Hall crumpled, Professor Ein declared Leo the victor, a blaze of dominance. Chelsea, his biggest fan, felt her heart race as she cheered. Carr, ever confident in his friend, watched Hall retreat, realizing why Leo always stands beside Celia. Surprisingly, a familiar voice praised his effort despite the loss. He looked up to find Celia smiling, applauding his technique. Though defeated, Hall treasured Celia's compliment, a memory he'll cherish forever. The professor summoned Class 5's Elian Layden, who burst onto the stage demanding to know his opponent. Professor Ein summons Class 10's Chen Xia, instantly deflating Eliana's hype. She'd been itching for a takedown, but now faces a top 3 Knight Department contender. The two women lock eyes, poised opposite each other, awaiting the signal. Chen Xiao offers a calm bow and a smile, her courtesy radiating confidence. Undeterred, Eliana returns the bow with a fierce grin, ready the moment the signal fires. Chen Xia fluidly summons a shimmering water aura. Tidal currents swirl around her, serene as the sea. Eliana's resolve ignites into blazing wildfire, rapier in hand. She thrusts at maximum speed, while Chen Xia encases herself in a protective water sphere. From the stands, Leo notes that absorbing that rapier strike would be brutal. Charging headfirst into Chen Xia's water aura shield, Eliana's haste backfired. She gambled on a single strike, and paid the price. Chen Xia's water sphere isn't just defense, it scalds anyone inside. In the second bout, her calm power effortlessly seized the advantage. Eliana rose, shaking off the crushing blow, convinced she hadn't performed that badly despite the loss. Leo saw it coming, a disastrous matchup, but the fight could have lasted longer and favored Eliana with a cooler head. For the day's third duel, Professor Ein summoned Knight Department A Celia Zerdinger of Class 1. To everyone's shock, the upcoming clash promised a blockbuster no one foresaw this early. Her opponent? The perpetual runner-up of Class 1, Duran Moira. Celia glanced at her grumpy classmate, smiled, and sensed an exhilarating fight ahead. Despite her grin, Duran's intensity is unmistakable. From the stands, Carr, high on his own supply, somehow secured a 3D glass. He tossed the whole bucket to his seatmate Leo, sharing the treat as all eyes fixed on the stage. A clash of titans rarely occurs, and the atmosphere lived up to the hype. The arena ignited, electrifying energy crackling as both offensive auras roared and blades drew, heralding the battle for top student. When the signal blared, Duran, grimacing, lunged with lightning speed, his sword fused with his body in a thunderous strike. Yet Celia, a master swordswoman, reflexively parried the opening blows. For the first-year spectators, it was their inaugural glimpse of the top scorer's raw power, eyes glued to the nail-biting duel. Carr leaned over, asking Leo who he backed. Leo, popcorn in hand, calmly predicted Celia would fall if the pace held, surprising Carr, though he still hadn't ruled out his cousin. Even from the stands he spots the calm, burning resolve in her eyes. He suspects she's holding a secret move, waiting to dazzle. Duran spikes his speed, launching a relentless assault. Caught off guard, Celia barely avoids a neck slash, instinctively sidestepping. Confident he could overwhelm, Duran closes in for a melee with his top rival. Mistake. Celia lifts her ornate blade, conjuring a flame that outshines any blaze today. The fire roars so bright the arena's shield flickers, straining to contain it. Freshmen stare in awe, never having witnessed such power. Leo lauds Celia's perfect patience and timing. Confused, Carr prompts an explanation. The cramped freshman arena forces Celia to trade speed for fire, turning the whole field into her blazing stage. Backed by the home crowd, Celia cornered Duran, making every move a gamble under her scorching blaze that also blinded him. Already formidable, Celia now wielded her powers with sharper cunning, unveiling a fiery domain of her own. As the heat seared the grumpy blonde, Celia slipped through his faltering guard, appearing to blink behind Duran. Her blazing slash threatened to end it, but Duran's lightning reflexes saved him. Desperate, Duran clenched his teeth, brandishing his sword, but losing composure against Celia is a fatal mistake. She seized his sword with bare hands, nullifying its threat. Engulfing the arena in flame, she utterly dominated the second-ranked Duran. In a wild, reckless move, she finished the bout by smashing her head into Duran, knocking the grumpy blondie unconscious. She extinguished her flames, claimed victory in the third match, and sent the crowd into a frenzy. She brushed dust from her uniform, smiled, and urged Duran to add strength training to his speed. He finally regained consciousness after the head but knocked him out. Duran grasped her hand and rose from the grass. The Academy press and fans of the top two cheered the charming duo. Leo beamed, seeing his cousin's grueling training pay off. Suddenly, nosy Professor Edmund appeared behind the boys, munching popcorn. He'd been listening to the class rep's commentary all along, finding Leo's insights valuable. By day's end, every night's studies match concluded flawlessly. Celia Zerdinger closed with 4 wins and 1 loss. Duran Moira matched that record. Chinxia also finished with a single loss, just like the others, after 5 matches. Leo Plav, however, went 5-0, clinching the top spot. A week later, the general linguistics written exam ended, and a rumpled Professor Edmund lauded the class's semester-long effort. As he waved out, he warned that a few could still fail on a poor grade. The instant the door slammed shut, Class 5 erupted. Fiery Eliana already feared expulsion. The nerds swarmed Chelsea's answer sheet, scrambling for a glimpse of the top score. The class president snoozed unnoticed at his desk. Neely nudged Leo, asking about his test. He claimed it was okay, though his face said otherwise. Nelia laughed that even the mighty rep seemed ordinary, promising a magical cure at the slightest ache. Carr interrupted the generous offer, complaining his shoulders and back felt stiff. Before he could swindle free healing, Chelsea delivered a sharp bonk to his back. With the distraction gone, Chelsea asked Leo about his summoning practice, noting Tide said he rarely shows up at the field. Leo's been training in secret, true to his character. Chelsea pressed. What rank are you targeting for the exam? Stupid question, he snapped. If it's Leo, first place is inevitable. The summoning practical exam drew seniors and faculty, all gathered for the first year's Marquis Summon Creature race. Third-year Lumine Summoner Rumba Test provided live commentary. Amid the pomp, Celia asked the student council president's brother if this was a test. He explained the creature race is a historic department tradition and a highlight of the interdepartmental exchange. Whenever an event pops up, Carr sniffs out profit. He's already hawking popcorn and cola, and the race hasn't even begun, yet his stalls sold out. The audience roars with excitement, reveling in the chaos. Meanwhile, a tense hush blankets the stage where the contestants stand. Freshman summoners tremble, the spectators clamor only heightening their anxiety. At the front, the race's frontrunners, Leo, the silver-haired lady, the pale-haired gentleman, and Chinxia, focused intently on the upcoming challenge. Eliza Hergen, the icy-tressed scion of the famed Northern Summoner heroes, approached Leo, lauding his stellar night studies performance before probing his readiness for the summoned creature race, doubt flickering in her eyes. She's not wrong, she never saw him train with the group, despite his claims of being fully prepared. Leo's name was shouted across the room. The crowd immediately doubted his readiness, demanding he step aside if he wasn't serious about summoning. None had ever seen him truly bond with a creature. Tide attempted to calm the hostile chatter, urging everyone to relax. Yet the mob kept berating him, accusing Tide of defending the golden boy, who insulted their department. Chinxia felt the tension mounting as the test approached. Freshman Sun-Lu from SIA's eastern continent advised her to lean on her night study grades and not overstress the summoning exam. He was fed up with the pointless noise. Walden Titan, captain of the southern continent and top summoner, stepped forward to silence the uproar. He warned them to take their practice debates elsewhere, away from his ears. Sun-Lu erupted, seething at Titan's arrogant claim. Walden doubled down, scoffing at novices bragging about writing summons as if it were an achievement. Unmoved, Sun-Lu retorted, asking the captain if he felt guilty for never attending taming practice himself. Walden replied that basic training was a waste of his time. He didn't need to learn to handle simple griffins. Sun-Lu lunged, ready to strike Walden. Liu intervened, seizing Sun Lu's arm to defuse the tension. He warned that any brawl before the exam would mean disqualification, not just a penalty. The warning was enough to make Sun Lu step back. Tide approached Liu, apologizing for the freshman's hostile vibe. He explained that the summoning department has a wide skill gap between majors and minors. Because Chinxia and Lu, not dedicated summoning majors, rank so high, the second years chastise the freshmen for allowing it. Despite skipping practice, they label Liu a careless golden boy, though he has no intention of half-heartedly racing. From the shadows, unsavory eyes linger, watching the spectacle with keen interest. A dark aura surrounds a hooded figure, obsessively fixated on the race, and one particular student. That student is Sun Lu, whose very presence radiates an unnaturally intense power. He's prepared to wield that power to crush and even kill anyone standing in his way to win. Before the signal, Runba test outlines the competition's rules. Freshmen may only employ summoning. Dual-class students are barred from aura or magic. When the clock starts, they must tame a randomly assigned griffin from the stables. Then they soar, navigating the sprawling island of summons. Afterward, the Silent Lake marks the turn back toward the academy. Who will dominate the first semester midterm? South's captain or the Eastern challenger? Will Eliza uphold her family's legacy? Or will Sun Lu's secret ace rewrite the game? Or will Leo Plav unleash another record-breaking performance, cementing his reign? The racers lined up, eyes fixed on the starting bell. Miss Yura fired up her class, urging them to shake off nerves and trust their training. Panic means elimination. Instead, her pep talk only amplified their anxiety. She called the marks, then with a booming shout, launched the annual summoned creature race. Most students surged toward the griffin stables. A select group ignited the race, unleashing elemental summoned creature techniques. Without warning, they unleashed their tech, blasting forward. All eyes were on Walden and Leo. Even the commentator could barely hide his shock when the opening buzzer rang. Summoning students turned on the crowd's favorites. Leo shouted at Tide, "Don't worry about me, just go!" Determined to focus, Tide rode his tamed griffin, ignoring the class rep. The crowd roared that it was unfair for summoners to target the frontrunners. Leo knew the rivals despised him, but he didn't expect such sabotage, yet Rumbates called it a shrewd, if bitter, tactic. Walden shattered the elemental spell with raw brute force in seconds. Still tinged with residual magic, he strode calmly to the griffin stables. He effortlessly tamed a griffin, mounted it, and offered Leo a hand if he struggled. Leo brushed off the offer, seeing it as child's play. Silently, Walden surged skyward on his steed, outpacing everyone. Leo remained the lone competitor grounded on the stage. Chelsea watched, concern flashing as elemental magic trapped him. Miss Yura surveyed the field, frowning. Freshman rivalries run deeper than she imagined, even targeting the top student. She knew Leo's strength lay in summons, not spirits, making escape seem impossible. Yet a blinding flash flooded the arena, halting all eyes. Leo closed his eyes, chanting a rhythmic incantation that summoned elemental sylphs to shatter his bonds. Mastery of the ancient spirit tongue is rare today, let alone a flawless chant. Leo Plav's knack for surprise never ceases. Miss Yura locked eyes with the boy's fierce resolve. She exhaled, realizing her worry was misplaced, and resolved to recruit him for the summoning department. Leo lingered at the start, while his rivals surged ahead. The bullies who ensnared Leo and Walden jeered, sure the South's champion would finish last. When the thugs pressed Eliza, she retorted she could have bested Leo and Walden without any dirty tricks. She also fretted over the summoning class's reputation. The goons merely wanted to humiliate the prodigies. Fed up, Eliza accelerated, warning the goons to think twice next time. Sun Lu sensed her sanctimonious tone, his anger flaring. At this speed, Lu can easily snag second place behind Eliza. Aside from her, he's the top master of aerial summons. Lost in thought, a swift griffin sliced through the goons' ranks. Chinxia wasn't just riding, she was surfing the griffin, and it was clearly working. Her unmatched speed, achieved without soul energy, forced Sun Lu's goons to shift their focus to the eastern contender after Zia appeared. She summoned a radiant spirit of light, then hurled it skyward. Sensing the assault, the aerial acrobat vaulted onto a griffin wing, advancing forward. As the light spirit neared, Chenxia leapt midair, executing a flawless skyward flip. The stunned novices gasped as she parkoured effortlessly out of danger. She landed, coiled her leg like a bow, then launched off her mount. She zeroed in on the girl who hurled the light spirit, converting her momentum into a crushing kick. The girl tumbled from her griffin, frantically shouting that Chenxia must have cheated. "She's clueless," they muttered. Chenxia used no aura, relying solely on raw martial skill. With the threat neutralized, she refocused on the race and surged forward. En route, she exchanged greetings with Sun Lu, a fellow from her home region. He snarled back, warning that crossing him would be a grave error. Though Sia lacks aerial prowess, Sun Lu faces far greater challenges. She senses a furious contender, angered by the start line chaos, barreling toward her. Suddenly, a colossal fireball erupted, scorching the sky crimson. Walden unleashed his terrifying spirit, scorching foes midair and repaying the childish sabotage with lethal precision. Walden Skyfire is his revenge, a single-handed aerial onslaught. Seeing their allies fall, the goons fled in panic. Undeterred, Wall W, he unleashed relentless spell after spell, snaring each griffin and scorching the clouds. Back at the start, the commentator zeroed in on Leo, whose first-year reputation is at stake. After breaking the spirit lock, he must tame the last griffin or lose the race. Leo scanned the beast and spotted a deep laceration on its left wing. The fresh wound reveals the same goons who trapped him. Such cruelty is unforgivable. He seized the reins. The griffin recoiled, losing its composure. Forcing a wary beast without trust is a rookie mistake. From the stands, the Zerdinger siblings watched. She worried, he intrigued, as Leo seemed poised to brute force the Tamturing. He knows the griffin's fury and fear, but must tame it in record time. Locking eyes, his icy stare chills the beast as he commands it to kneel. Sensing its life hangs in the balance, the griffin ceases its struggle. Calm returns, forging the rider mount bond needed for the race. Leo pulls the shard from the wounded left wing. With a swift motion, he settles onto the saddle, ready to launch. He expertly guides the massive bird out of the stables. The camera zeroes in on the lone starter, the wounded wing Stark. Commentators whisper about a possible last-place finish. Leo silently shares the griffin's pain, feeling its lingering agony. In line with the contract, he summoned his soul-bound beast. The aura of the phoenix materialized mid-air, radiant as ever. With a single thought, Leo ordered the chick to mend the wounded wing. Phoenix flame engulfed the confused bird, which fought back in vain. Watching the feed, Celia was stunned she couldn't identify the flames. Her older brother quietly concluded it was neither Zerdinger nor Aura Flame, an entirely new force. On the front lines, the battered goons scrambled to evade crazy Walden and avoid last place. The real showdown had unlocked, and he was fiercer than ever. Cloaked in phoenix fire, Leo's griffin surged higher than ever before. Now that competition is in view, he pushes the beast to its ultimate speed. Just as Leo prepared to surge ahead, a massive dragon, at least it seemed, swooped into the sky. To Leo, who survived the past, that draconic silhouette feels all too familiar. It's a Fafnir. He doubted his eyes, but the beast was undeniably real. Minutes before this clash, Eliza broke from the lead to confront Walden head-on. She knows stopping the monster is her only shot at first place. With a casual snap, Walden unleashed spirit fire across her path. The fire detonated into a destructive cloud, yet she evaded unscathed and realized Walden was fusing wind and fire spirits into explosives. Walden's monstrous talent blindsides Eliza, leaving her reeling. Mounted on his griffin, Walden becomes an unstoppable, crushing wall. Yet Eliza, heir of a famed summoning lineage, still has hidden tricks. She knows raw power means nothing without contact, so she relies on speed and reflexes to slip through the barrage. Watching her deftly dodge, Walden swaps fire and wind for a hail of enchanted ice spears, massive, razor-sharp, and spirit-infused. Eliza snarls at the onslaught, igniting her mount's dormant power. The griffin swells, growing fiercer and more formidable. Like a Pokemon showdown, her griffin blasts a flamethrower, scorching the icy barrage. She channels the searing flames to melt every spear before they can strike. Walden's assault collapses under Eliza's reinforced summons. The commentator lounged in his booth, spouting cheesy remarks on the battle. Meanwhile, the top students were locked in a fierce clash. Seizing the chaos, Chenxia slipped past them to seize the lead, sparking Eliza's resolve to make her pay. She hurled a violet magical rope. The rope seized Chenxia's neck, pulling her close. Bound and vulnerable, a sudden flame flickered, warning of imminent disaster if she didn't flee. Chenxia and her griffin vaulted away, escaping danger. Just as Walden's spirits converged into another massive explosion. Still airborne, she shattered Eliza's magical rope with a swift strike. She summoned her mount in perfect timing, reclaiming the lead with cunning maneuvers. She felt exhilarated, eager to test the power of the summoning class elites. Ahead, a strange airborne silhouette loomed. Chenxia stared, puzzled by the looming black wyvern. Sun Lu, whose grip on reality slipped, penned his murderous intent. Sinxia warned the Eastern student that mounting any summon but a griffin broke race rules. Now indifferent, his fury toward privileged prodigies has peaked. Eliza and Walden closed in on the strange presence. Eliza, using her monster lore, identified it as more than a black wyvern, an anomaly. At that moment, Leo Plov surged ahead, his flaming griffin matching the frontrunners. His speed, already elite, surged further with the phoenix flame. Sun Lu, undeterred by facing multiple geniuses, is convinced he can slay them all. Leo's voice cut through the chaos, icy and commanding. Hovering above, he demanded to know how the fool obtained that lizard. Sun Lu scoffed, claiming jealousy, and boasted he had tamed the beast through his summoning prowess. Leo stared at the clueless rider, unaware he sat upon a Fafnir. That creature, once wielded by Tartaro's mages and thought extinct after Kyle's Age of Despair purge, shouldn't be summonable by any academy brat. Sun Lu dubbed the Fafnir a black wyvern, and commanded its laser breath to rip the sky. Leo and Walden dodged the beam. Eliza spun away, yet none were the intended victim. The laser locked onto Chenxia. Leo shouted a warning. Xia scrambled to raise an aura shield. Too slow, the shield crumbled as the laser shattered it, cracking the defense. The shield finally splinters into nothing. Xia's gravely wounded griffin collapses, sending them plummeting earthward, parachuteless. Leo darts into action at breakneck speed. He easily catches the free-falling Xia, intent on rescuing her. He orders Walden and Eliza to touch down immediately. The haughty top students obey, trusting his call. Above, the Fafnir circles the heavens, predator eyes fixed. A dark whisper grips Sinlu's mind, reveling in his newfound superiority. The commentator notes the frontrunners veer off track, disappearing from the camera. The final glimpse, Sinlu summons a black wyvern, assaulting the department's aces, while Miss Yura storms the booth and yanks the mic from the kid. No time for theatrics. Yura grabbed the mic, ordering every summoning professor and aide to summon more flyers. Race halted, rescue now priority. Professors Len and Sejin rushed into the booth, bewildered, as Yura warned that a student had bonded with a Hyder demonic beast gone berserk. The mere mention of a demonic creature sent chills down the professors' spines. They knew the beast's corrupting influence would soon shatter the student's mind. Professor Edmund entered, suggesting a hidden force might be puppeteering the murderous monster. Assuming command, the disheveled Edmund tasked Jura with subduing or capturing Sinlu, while the other professors scrambled to shield the students. Despite their rivalry, Sejin and Edmund set aside differences. For the sake of their pupils, they'd forged the deadliest alliance. On the battlefield, Leo slipped into a concealed nook. He gently laid the unconscious Xia there to evaluate her wounds. Moments later, Eliza and Walden touched down beside him. Their brief calm shattered when Sinlu instantly spotted them. The Fafnir landed, stalking the top students like a ravenous predator. Mistaking Leo's approach as a retreat, Sinlu misread the situation. He tried to tell the fool that the mount wasn't a black wyvern, it was the demonic Fafnir itself. That revelation sent everyone on high alert. As Leo drew near, Kyle's legendary silhouette seemed to merge with his own. He remembered the era when he wiped out every vile beast, leaving none alive. Now, the former hero seeks one more kill, craving a nostalgic showdown. He advanced steadily, the towering Fafnir looming overhead. Sinlu scoffed, his mind shattered, laughing at Leo's warning. His eyes burned with fury, a desperate need to outshine the summoning aces. He summoned the Fafnir to unleash its searing laser breath once more. Just as the beam hurtled toward its target, a massive stone hand erupted from the earth. The hand rose, revealing a stone golem that blocked the laser, and Walden, hearing Leo's pledge to slay the beasts, finally showed genuine enthusiasm. With the attack neutralized, panic surged through Sinlu. Eliza allied with Leo, determined and irritated by Walden's bravado. The three aces devised a plan: knock Sinlu off the demonic beast before Walden's golem crumbles. Watching Eliza and Walden clash in a life-or-death moment drew a nostalgic grin from Leo. Heroes have always been oddballs. As the golem crumbled, Sinlu's swagger returned, daring Walden to summon a stronger force. When the golem shattered into rubble, the three heroes vanished from view. Eliza launched the assault, wielding her enchanted violet rope. The rope spiraled and elongated at her command, striking into Sinlu's reach. While she handled crowd control, a snap of her fingers ignited the damage phase. Flames erupted across the Fafnir's hide as it primed another laser blast. Walden set detonators on vital points, then unleashed a cascade of spirit bombs. With his part done, Leo Plov stepped up to claim his share. As the smoke cleared, Leo closed the gap in an instant, yanking the foe by his hair. He delivered a crushing kick to Sinlu's face, nearly sending him flying off the Fafnir. Yet a new force has seized the boy. Whatever possessed him now dominates. Sinlu praised Leo's plan to extract the boy, but the host had already been taken over. As danger escalated, the demonic beast hurled Leo into the sky, leaving Walden and Eliza behind. The possessed host sneered. "Feeling fear now, Leo?" Leo responded by striking the Tartaro's beast tamer possessing Sinlu, something the host had never faced. No one had ever uncovered his true form. Leo's icy calm amidst the chaos reminded the tamer of ancient heroes, marking him as a threat that must be stopped. With a sharper spirit technique, the tamer ripped Leo away aggressively. He couldn't gain a foothold and began free-falling from the sky. Unflinching, he called upon Fiora for rescue. Phoenix flames streaked the sky while Leo twirled a fire orb, nostalgia flashing through his mind. He was Kyle, the original hero, and he proudly claimed he excelled at everything. Yet he never mastered a single art, a true jack of all trades, master of none. When Aura came up, Miles easily outclassed Aaron and Dueno. In magic, Luna outshone him without contest. His summoning paled beside Lucina's, a whole other tier. Still, his versatility let him fuse powers and pioneer unheard-of tactics. Drawing on Aura, magic, his bond with Fiora, and summon beast lore, Leo unleashed a devastating spell. Aura, magic, and soul energy each run endless, but together they forge unstoppable power. Fiora vanished, reborn as a teenage phoenix. Its blazing crimson plumage illuminated the sky as it seized Leo with fierce talons. The demonic beast roared, rattled by the phoenix's fiery aura. The handler's tone hardened, demanding Leo's true identity. Leo teased, offering a trade for the secret of Sunlu's Fafnir. Yet this prodigy knows the age of despair too well. He cannot be allowed to survive. Anticipating the Fafnir's strike, Leo drew his blade, channeling the phoenix flame to its tip. Fortunately, Zerdinger's hidden sword style is forged for phoenix breath. This secret art propels his power into a higher realm. The Fafnir's lethal laser clashed with Leo's mythic fire in a Dragon Ball-level showdown. Leo stood unwavering, never blinking an eye. Sunlu's mind flickered, scrambled by the possession. Fafnir convulsed midair, a guttural howl throwing its handler off balance. Spotting the beast's waning soul energy, Leo seized the moment and surged forward. He let out a battle cry, unleashing every reserve of power in a crushing onslaught. The handler could only curse the young prodigy. Phoenix flames ripped through Fafnir, incinerating the demon from within until fire spewed from every wound. Leo claimed a brutally explosive victory. Gasping for breath, he thanked Fiora for the clutch rescue, muttering it's time to retreat. Yet the Phoenix's transformation limit had been reached. Realizing his miscalculation, Leo braced for a fatal fall. He screamed as he plummeted from thousands of feet. The true Tartaro's handler meditated unseen deep in the woods. Just as he prepared another reckless attack, a blinding light engulfed the forest. A crushing force slammed the handler to his knees. Professor Sijin arrived, sealing the handler's movements. Beside him, Professor Edmund radiated an aura of darkness. The handler instantly recognized the twin lumen pillars. Realizing he couldn't withstand their power, he tore open a spatial rift and vanished. His failure was bitter, but he'll return. Through the rift erupted a smoky beast, its countless eyes and razor-toothed maws glinting. The creature turned on its creator, crushing the handler with its unimaginable weight. When the smoke cleared, the rift and its handler vanished, leaving only scattered rocks and lingering fumes. The professor sensed the darkness forces were finally stirring. Sijin collected the fragments for analysis. The Lumina pillars knew the academy was no longer safe. Meanwhile, Leo continues his deadly plunge. Clutching Fiora, he commanded the phoenix to return to the summons realm, sparing her the fall. A scaly winged beast swooped in. It caught Leo before he could become a splatter of flesh. Perched on the wyvern's back, Miss Yura beamed with relief, thanking the gods for her timely arrival. The wyvern gently set them down on a prairie, cradling Leo as if he were a hatchling. The demonic beast handler fled to a hidden cave, his secret laboratory for twisted experiments. His supervisor loomed over him, disgusted that a mere hero candidate had bested him. Clutching his wounds, the handler insisted his opponent was no ordinary hero candidate. Learning the kid wielded a phoenix, the supervisor's interest piqued. But discovering the kid knew Fafnir's true identity turned curiosity into wariness. A sly smile curled his lips as the supervisor anticipated the hero candidate's next move. In Lumen, the practical summoning midterm was abruptly cancelled by an unforeseen incident. Sunlu's shattered mind led to his untimely death. New students now grasp Lumin's peril, and everyone buzzes about Sunlu's fate. Under Miss Jura's command, the four involved spread the cover story of a rogue black wyvern. Now Leo must cut through the tangled web of conspiracies. On the day of the magic class practical, Professor Lin waited at the lecture hall entrance for the students to flood in. Carr and Chelsea had already arrived. At the doorway they saw Chloe, hair a mess and dark circles marking sleepless nights. Leo trailed just behind her. He couldn't ignore her exhausted state. After a brief pause, Professor Lin finally addressed the class. His solemn tone made clear this wouldn't be a simple test. Each student must unleash original magic that reflects their soul. Not wanting to witness the next generation alone, he invited 3 distinguished alumni to assist. These seniors, 3 years out of the department, have already made names across magical disciplines. The air crackled with sharp, restless anticipation. Hard even slack. Alongside the upbeat Sean Hogue, the trio of judges greeted the freshmen, instantly lifting the room's mood. Carr felt confident, assuming the judges would be generous with their scores. Professor Lin summoned Eliana Layton to the stage, where she strode forward with a bright, self-assured smile. She amplified her charm, eyes sparkling like stars as she formally bowed to the seniors. Carr winced at her aristocratic facade, certain she was merely playing a role. Eliana then ignited a dazzling light display, showcasing her rare light affinity. She escalated the act by weaving fire into the spectacle, hinting at something more spectacular. Merging flame and illumination, she unleashed a torrent of scorching rays, a potent thermal blast. Sean Hodge watched the fiery display, awe evident on his face. She scoffed, calling the thermal ray nothing more than a common laser spell anyone could master. Eliana felt her demo was flawless, yet the judges were already scribbling her grade. The trio weighed the judging criteria before assigning a score. Following a brief deliberation, they delivered their verdict to Professor Lin. Uj and Rilda marked her a C/AC, leaving her with an overall C. Students stiffened as Eliana Leiden's stellar display earned a disappointing grade. One by one, Magic Department hopefuls took the stage, only to receive C or C grades. A few shone through. Carr Thomas snagged a B+ for his dazzling metal and gold manipulation. Predictably, Chelsea Llewellyn topped the board, earning an A for her breathtaking wind magic. The fox and the cat reveled in their consecutive victories, grateful the exam was a triumph. The judges, unseen by the freshmen, are secretly dismayed. Professor Lin promised standout talent, yet none have dazzled so far. With the stack of papers dwindling, only 3 students remain to be judged. Slack recognizes these 3 as the true elite the professor saved for last. Up next steps Abad Lulin, Chelsea's brother. The moment he appears, the judges can't help but smile. His looks alone deserve an A+. Unlike his predecessors, Abad skips flash and dives straight into the theory behind his spell. He then unveils his original magic, naming it Tempest. Professor Lin nods approvingly as the judges become absorbed in Abad's exposition. The prodigy claims his Tempest will soon rank as top class, a testament to his months of preparation. Meanwhile, back on the Lulin estate, he ran endless experiments, perfecting the Tempest. He enlisted the elders to forge a protective barrier in case of failure. The Abad family mages focused intensely, holding the shield firm. Within the barrier, Abad fine-tuned and unleashed the terrifying power, lifting off the ground as Tempest's first phase ignited. With a blood-curdling roar, he forced every cell to command the wind itself. The raging gusts merged into a cataclysmic storm capable of wiping everything away. The Tempest's might shattered the Formagician's shield, refusing containment. When Abad opened its eyes, it witnessed the Tempest rising, raising a helpless creature toward the heavens. Fear surged. He couldn't let his loss of control harm an innocent creature. Saving the creature fueled his final surge, forcing the wind to obey his command. Abad proves a prime hero contender, second only to one legendary figure. Back in the hall, Abad presented a condensed Tempest. Summoning its full might could raise part of the academy. Though it appears simple, the judges recognized its foundation in advanced high sorcery. He returned to his seat with a unanimous A+, the highest score yet, while Chelsea muttered that her brother is simply unparalleled. Professor Lin's eyes sparkled, eager to witness the next student's display. Enter the golden boy himself, Leo Plav. Leo stepped forward, confidently declaring his high sorcery, a no-attribute system. Unspoken, he hints it's the very system he wielded as the world's original hero. When judges, baffled by his claim, pressed for details, Leo explained, every basic spell requires a base attribute, yet his system transcends that rule. His thesis is straightforward. He unveiled a high sorcery system that elevates and streamlines spellcasting. The panel's reaction split, skepticism met all. They pressed him, asking if he truly intended to reinvent spellcasting, while the 3 seniors scoffed. Professor Len beamed, eyes glittering, eager to recruit Leo as an exclusive mage. Slack dismissed Leo as nonsense, insisting the judges seek sound theory, not fantasy. Despite his doubt, Professor Len urged Leo to record the system's theory. With the professor's enthusiasm, the judges were forced to stay open-minded. Leo grabbed chalk and began sketching the theory on the board. Silence fell, broken only by the soft scrape of chalk. Brildapedni claimed only one mage in history ever wielded a completely distinct high sorcery system. Leo smirked, noting the sole achiever was the star poet Luna. Sean Hodge bristled, seeing the freshman's remark as a challenge to a legendary hero. Leo quickly deflated the notion, admitting he could never match Luna's magic. He explained you don't need Luna's genius to craft a new system, just read his equations on the board. To their surprise, each line of his theory was rock solid. He wasn't bluffing for show. The framework revealed a system that channels any attribute without loss. Even confident theorist Chelsea struggled to decode his notes. Carr abandoned the board after the first line, while Chloe never blinked away from her rival. Judges, now aware of Leo's brilliance, demand the motive behind his new magic system. He answers plainly. He wants unrestricted access to every spell. Eidman's skepticism flips to fascination, finally grasping why the professor deems this cohort extraordinary. When asked the system's name, Leo flashes a grin, lifts his hand, conjuring an incandescent thread of mana that ignites the hall, swelling into a colossal orb of pure magic. He christens it the Bible. Sean Hodge reels in surprise. Scouring her vast lore, she recalls only one historic figure who used that title, the possibly mythical hero Kyle, and she's eager to see Leo's next move. Perhaps Leo will prove Kyle's existence. After the briefest deliberation of the day, the judges hand their scores to the professor for the announcement. Professor Lenz glanced at the cards, smiled, and awarded Leo Plav an A+. Returning to his seat, Leo reflected on his past failures as Kyle and vowed this time he'd finally finish the system. The final student rose to present her own magic. Now Chloe takes the stage, ready to dazzle the judges after Leo's shock. Before sitting, Leo worriedly asked if the locked-in Chloe was alright. She didn't look well. Chloe Muller stood tall on the stage, posture unwavering. The judges knew she was this year's top magic student and expected a spectacular display. As she began, her tone shifted. She declared she'd mastered an imperishable flame. A fierce crimson fire flickered violently in her hand. Her peers stared bewildered. She's an ice mage, so wielding a raging flame as her high sorcery seemed absurd, wasteful, even insane. She stood motionless on the stage. The judges frowned. Beside Abad's and Leo's dazzling feats, her flame looked mundane. If that's all she presents, her score will plummet. Chloe then summoned dancing water to prove its worth. A flick of her finger sent a cascading waterfall, ready to douse any ordinary flame, except this one. Abad gasped. Leo sensed an ominous foreboding. Darkness flickered in Chloe's eyes as she revealed the fire's permanence, lasting indefinitely unless she consciously quenches it. She ended by deliberately snuffing the supposedly unquenchable blaze. Grabbing chalk, Chloe penned the theory. Without direct mana, spells fade, yet her fire defies that rule, leaving the class gaping. She essentially shattered a rule as old as magic itself, utterly bizarre. Even the judges struggled to grasp her audacious concept. Chloe named her signature sorcery, the Eternal Flame. Of everyone present, only Leo was convinced it was impossible. Yet her logic held, her display seared into memory, earning her an A+ alongside Leo. Leo remained skeptical. An everlasting flame is a puzzle Luna never solved. To his knowledge, only one entity ever wielded such fire, the cataclysmic Erebos. As soon as the exams ended, Leo rushed to find Chloe. She'd already slipped back to her dorm, exhausted from relentless prep. He let her rest, holding his doubts. Celia then voiced her own concerns. In recent days, Celia noticed Chloe growing increasingly volatile. She clashed with classmates twice, and rumors swirled that she was consorting with the magic studies delinquents. Pondering his doubts, Leo returned to the deserted lecture hall. He summoned Fiora, now in her phoenix chick form, for the first time since the race. The legendary beast and its tamer greeted each other with genuine relief. Yet Leo also called another ally to verify his suspicions. From a vortex of flames emerged a stunning woman, Fiora's mother, the guardian phoenix, Miss Farina, the ultimate fiery matriarch. Poised and regal, Miss Farina demanded Leo cut to the chase and explain why he summoned her through Fiora. Leo asked, intrigued, why she had taken up residence at Lumini for so long. Since a phoenix is the antithesis of demonic beasts, there's a hidden motive keeping her at the academy. Ms. Farina revealed that 5 years ago, Lumini suffered a horrific terror attack. 2 students and 3 staff died, and the perpetrators vanished without a trace. Desperate, Headmaster Kallian Badian invoked a favor, and trusting the phoenix to scour the school for clues, Ms. Farina has hunted the culprits ever since. She must have heard about the demonic beast handler's appearance during the recent summoning exam, which claimed another student's life. When pressed about Tartaro's involvement, Miss Farina fell silent. She suspects the evil guild, but that's all she'll say for now. Realizing she has nothing new, Leo left her a tip to pass to Headmaster Kallian. He suggested Sinlu might not be Tartaro's only pawn. The next day, the gauntlet of exams resumed, with every freshman gathering for the heroics and combat studies joint practical. The relaxed Professor Edmund oversaw the exam, delegating the briefing to class rep Leo. Leo eagerly announced the heroics combat joint practical. Teams will raid the infamous Chedmer incident. The moment Chedmer was mentioned, the students froze in dread. Only Eliana, despite studying it for the written test, had never heard of Chedmer. Noticing the class stirring up, Professor Edmund's booming voice cut the chatter, demanding respect for Leo's briefing. Leo explained the test. Each team will enter a hero's world from 3 decades past. There, first-year Lumine students on a central Chedmer forest mission were ambushed by Tartaros. Second-year sorcerer Albi, the Magic Eye, led a rescue team that averted total massacre. The exam's objective: rescue the wounded, slay the demonic beasts, and uphold Albi's legacy. Professor Edmund warned this isn't a typical midterm. Students must stay razor-sharp, and anyone deemed lacking heroic potential will be expelled on the spot. The threat of expulsion sent shivers through the less confident. He softened, seeing their anxiety. He reminded them how far they'd come, urging them to trust their newfound strength. Despite his laid-back vibe, Edmund knows exactly when to hand out rewards, or punishments. With the test underway, teams were formed as students lined up, class by class. No self-selected squads. Students faced the prospect of teaming with strangers. A blind draw would decide whether they'd land in a powerhouse or a disaster team. When Leo's turn arrived, he drew the number 11. They were the final team to enter the exam. Once the squads were formed, Team 1 stepped up to the summoning portal. Commanded by Celia Zerdinger and Chelsea Lilin, the team struck a perfect balance. Now we'll prove the might of the Lordran Empire to those nobles. The exam's mastermind was none other than Professor Knockoff Gojo, Albi, the Aura Farmer. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashed Albi's world. Prologue, the Chedmer incident. A blinding surge of magic engulfed Team 1, thrusting them into a past vision. A massive enchanted screen hovered above, broadcasting every move for all to watch. Everyone was awed. Though freshly summoned, Team 1 blitzed through the hero's world. Chelsea's spells and Celia's blade made them a speedrun, proof that elite lineage breeds prodigies. Beside Professor Edmund sat his rival, Professor Sejin, who praised Celia as Team 1's X-Factor, while Edmund countered that Chelsea's impact was even greater. Lumen's 2 pillars constantly clash at every opportunity. Breaking up their quarrel, the headmaster entered, lauding Team 1's lightning pace, true rising stars. He clearly anticipated the pillars' childish duel. He pulled up a chair between them, eager to gauge the first year's growth. Addressing Professor Albi, the grizzled veteran apologized for repeatedly dredging the painful memory for the exam. Albie retorted that Headmaster Callahan should bear the blame, swearing never to forget the incident, and using the yearly reminder to stay on course. At last, Team 1's raid ended in a swift, bloody finish as Chelsea and Celia felled the beast together. The headmaster noted Zerdinger and Lillian's flawless teamwork, despite their usual sparks, true pride of their nation. Team 2 underwhelmed, whereas Team 3 dominated the hero's world, placing first-years Abad and Duran at the vanguard while the others supported. The headmaster praised their swift, efficient tactics that secured victory. Team 4 stormed into the elite ranks, their secret weapon, Nella Carvin's uncanny healing aura. Chen Xia's uncanny agility drove the team forward. The headmaster took note of the enigmatic Eastern girl. Team 7, helmed by 2 top-tier summoners, ripped through the hero's world in record time. Headmaster Kellyan and the faculty glued themselves to the live feed. Despite the flood of talent, the brightest star still awaits his moment. At last, Team 11 stepped forward, featuring Leo Plav and the familiar Chloe Muller. Headmaster Kulyan drifted into nostalgia, recalling his own heroic days alongside Miss Farina. Team 11 perched atop the glowing magic circle. Leo and Chloe locked eyes, the tension palpable. Professor Albie flicked his enchanted book, igniting Albie's world, prologue, the Chedmer incident, for the 11th and final summon. A faint shadow seeped onto the magic circle, corrupting its intricate runes. As the light engulfed Team 11, Leo's gut warned him something was wrong. Unlike previous openings, the light surged with a fierce, aggressive pulse. To everyone's shock, only 2 figures materialized from the field. Leo and Chloe vanished, while the rest of Team 11 stayed put as the circle faded. Professor Sejan sprang to his seat, alarmed by the unfolding scene. Headmaster Kalyan Badian turned to Albie, demanding an explanation. With a tremor of fear, Albie ordered the exams halted. The hero's page on the Chedmer incident is now tainted by unknown forces. The impossible occurs, an unscripted hero dungeon manifestation. Leo freezes as a bizarre screen replaces the usual quest UI, revealing they're trapped in a hero dungeon. Chloe, bewildered by the missing record page, a glitch never seen before, tries contacting the professors, but receives nothing. Panic rising, Chloe pleads for the professors to rescue them. Leo drags her back to reality, noting that if help were possible, they'd already appear. Their only choice is to answer the hero dungeon summons. Shaken, Chloe doubts Leo's sanity, recalling the near-zero survival rate of previous summons and the deadly Tartarus trap. Her knees buckle, and her hope shatters in a mental collapse. Yet Leo stays calm, reminding her she's the class's sharpest mind. Together, their unstoppable teamwork guarantees victory. She bites her lip, envious of Mr. Perfect's unflappable composure. She steels herself and demands to hear his brilliant plan. Leo outlines 2 primary objectives. Rescue the freshmen and escort them out. First, they must grow stronger. Chloe retorts they can't power up without external resources. Leo calmly notes they're not the only students stranded in the forest. Chloe hesitates, recalling other survivors must be nearby. Unflinching, he meets her gaze and orders her to ride. Chloe burns with embarrassment at his audacity. Leo stands resolute. They can't let seniors face Tartarus alone, and her mage stamina is insufficient. There's no other option. Deep in the forest, the demon Chubarn lurks, spying on the students with his eerie magical cameras. He raises an eyebrow at the fact that only a duo has been sent as the rescue team, yet remains unfazed. Confident, he believes he can annihilate these aspiring heroes without breaking a sweat. That certainty shatters the instant his head jerks around, darkening his mood. He spots a rescuer wielding an all-class power, and his cocky smirk vanishes. His focus instantly shifts from the original 4-person party to the circus-like hero hoisting his mage on his back. Meanwhile, Leo feels his vision blur as they plunge deeper into the woods. Determined, he decides it's time to activate Aaron's aura farming technique. He channels the spell, hoping the aura will restore their fading sight. He envelopes himself in aura, maxing his senses and sharpening every instinct. Venturing deeper, he alerts Chloe to an approaching orc pack. She's already charging. She flicks her wand, unleashing a barrage of icicles into the horde. She imagines the foes falling like bowling pins. One orc survives, blowing the horn for reinforcements. The blare nearly steals her breath. Leo leaps in, slashing the horn in half. Before she can blink, Chloe watches, feeling the gap widen, doubting she'll ever surpass him. Soon after, they discover a swarm of demons encircling 4 stranded students. Leo lunges into the fray, shouting at Chloe to back him up like a proper mage. The frontline girl scrambles to finish her spell, but the hulking demon darts past her, inches from tearing her apart. Before she can scream, Leo materializes and cleaves the beast in one clean cut. The remaining demons freeze in shock. The other students stare, mouths agape, as they retreat. Leo strikes a confident pose, the battlefield his stage. The rescued girl, awestruck, asks if he's their savior. He nods, then pivots to a charging demon shouting revenge for its kin. A rain of grotesque leech demons pours from above, yet Leo remains unmoved. He spins like a rogue Dalek, ignites his blade, and sears the parasites into charred skewers. The students gasp at his brilliance, but Leo snaps them to attention, ordering the female student to cast her spell. She charges a blazing arc. Unleashing it, she erases the demon entirely. Not a single pixel remains. Chloe watches stunned, instantly recognizing the caster by the magic alone. As sunset paints the sky, the girl repeatedly thanks Leo for his rescue. Chloe, however, ignores her, insisting she must discuss something urgent with her partner. The girl shoots a cold, angry glare at Leo's boldness. Chloe brushes her aside, leans toward Leo, and whispers, "She's Aaliyah Zarin." Aaliyah, the younger sister of Professor Albie Zarin, who died 30 years ago, carries a haunting secret. Her party is doomed to repeat the same tragic fate in this dungeon, Chloe warns. She reveals that Chu Barn, a knight-rank demon from Tartarus, slaughtered Aaliyah's group 3 decades earlier. The entire operation was designed to erase Aaliyah, Chloe adds. She was a prodigy among hero candidates, her name sealed forever in the hero records. "We must survive and meet the dungeon's conditions with another party," she tells Leo, questioning if he really plans to abandon them. "I have no choice," Chloe retorts. "In a hero dungeon, the dead stay dead." Yet Leo stands firm, refusing to leave them behind. It instantly irritates Chloe. She erupts, her fury making Aaliyah's party watch like kids caught in a parental showdown. Frustrated, she shouts she knows his power, but now's no time for showboating. Grow up and quit playing hero. She collapses into tears while Leo remains unflinching. He gently pats her head, soothing the storm. He tells her not to speak like that. Both are hero candidates, and this isn't a game, it's training. He reminds her they've already altered the timeline, leaving them disoriented. He notes the sky darkened long before they met Aaliyah's squad, and, by now they should have been hunted down by Chu Barn. Seeing his earnest stare, Chloe silences her doubts and pledges to follow his plan, even as he warns she won't be a perfect hero. They must focus on escaping with Aaliyah's party. From behind, Chloe sees Leo's aura flare, and it hits her. He's already miles ahead. She clenches her fists, jealousy boiling, and thinks of pulling out her book. The green-haired student, Tio, loudly asks why only 2 seniors were sent. Dina and Bellic instantly suspect he's a Tartarus spy. Aaliyah cuts them off, reminding them he literally sliced demons like tissue. Then she slips, admitting she finds him attractive and right up her type. The confession earns sideways looks. Aaliyah is baffled by Dina's shock. Dina explains she believed only Senior Albie could meet her lofty standards. Their girls' talk is abruptly cut. Leo orders the juniors to regroup and escape the forest immediately. Tio questions the haste now that backup is here, but Leo cuts him with cold reality. A knight-rank demon prowls nearby. The warning snaps everyone to attention. One such monster could annihilate 100 soldiers, making the urgency crystal clear. Leo repeats that avoiding combat and staying alive are paramount. Aaliyah watches him silently, feeling he mirrors her brother. They bolt through the woods as if their lives depend on it. Chloe remains visibly bitter from their earlier clash. Aaliyah, ever sharp, instantly reads her mood. Back at the academy, staff scramble through ancient records. They scour the records for any hint of hero pages morphing into dungeons. The headmaster tells Professor Albie that outsiders haven't meddled yet, while the blonde scholar confirms only 2 living souls remain inside. Noting 3 hours have passed, the headmaster assumes night has fallen and asks Albie when he last defeated Chu Barn. Albie replies he slew the trash demon at midnight. Just then, Elena bursts in, delivering a lead on the vendor who sold Lou the demon-summoning catalyst. Before she finishes, the headmaster's gaze snaps to her. A volatile magical surge threatens to erupt. He sees Albie spiraling out of control. He rushes in to steady him, but Albie jerks away, insisting he needs fresh air. Elena instantly pinpoints the source of his fury. His demon hatred runs deeper than Sasuke's grudge on Itachi. He lost his sister in that incident. Her body never recovered. The headmaster orders Elena to finish her report. She notes the black market seller had been operating in the city for months and was popular among freshmen. The headmaster suspects a Tartarus spy slipped in, but Elena clarifies the man isn't directly tied. Tartarus used him as a backdoor conduit. Stroking his beard, the old man wonders what they were after. His eyes snap open as he spots the name. Chloe's name appears on the buyer list, adjacent to a black book entry. Without hesitation, he orders Elena to summon Professor Len at once. After she departs, his longtime companion appears. His battle-scarred instincts, forged by countless brushes with death, ignite. He shouts that a dire threat is looming. Back in the hero dungeon, Leo's group halts at the base of a colossal tower. Inside, the boy slashes through monsters, carving a clear path. Yet his super sense fatigue shows after pushing far beyond its limits. With Aaliyah's squad and even Chloe on the edge, he orders a brief respite. Tio and Bellic stare, stunned by his fresh, spa-like look after the bloodshed. During the pause, Chloe sits silently, a book about Chu Barn open on her lap. Aaliyah strolls up and casually drops a question about her. "What's your relationship with Leo?" she asks, then bluntly inquires if Chloe has a crush. Chloe's face turns green at the idea, but Aaliyah grins, noting the over-the-top reaction can't be innocent. Chloe sighs and glances at the so-called genius girl who supposedly existed 30 years ago, yet looks just like any high schooler in her class. She flips the question back, asking if Aaliyah is the one catching feelings, while Aaliyah answers without missing a beat. He makes my heart go doki doki. The reply instantly irritates Chloe. After all, this legendary girl from the past fell for him at first sight, proof of Leo's absurdly amazing nature. Still, Aaliyah confesses she isn't sure if it's romance, or just the strange thrill she feels when her brother finally succeeds. She describes that fluttery sensation that hits her whenever her brother overcomes a tough challenge. Chloe asks if she's talking about Albizarin, and Aaliyah nods. She explains her brother lives for insane feats, like mining bedrock and vanilla Minecraft, that no sane person would attempt. That detail convinces Chloe Leo is a carbon copy of Albi, and she blurts everything out. She confesses to Aaliyah she once befriended Leo until jealousy ruined it. Aaliyah, surprised, admits they're oddly alike. She reveals she's always envied her clown-like genius brother, who somehow makes groundbreaking discoveries. She admits her unique magic is merely a remix of her brother's system, since she struggles to invent original ideas. She shocks Chloe by laughing about failing the entrance exam twice, only deepening her inner turmoil and fueling her hatred. Eventually, the toxicity morphed into outright admiration, and Chloe sees the same pattern in herself. Before she can react, Leo leaps up, warning everyone their escape route is sealed. Terrified, the students seize their weapons and steel themselves. Leo reminds them they're future heroes. Fear has no place in their training. Yet Aaliyah's squad breaks into a cold sweat as a massive demonic figure emerges and declares he's finally found the seed of a true hero. He unleashes a destructive magical blast at Leo, who dodges. Leo recalls the foe's purpose: to crush budding heroes before they can rise. Yet he now brands himself Great, a title that sits oddly on his shoulders. Undeterred, he shouts to Chloe, who already has a magic circle primed. She conjures a towering iceberg, halting Chuban's onslaught. Meanwhile, Leo channels magic into his blade. He darts behind the night-rank demon, delivering a clean, crushing slash to its massive, F1-like neck. The girls hold their breath, convinced it's over, but their hope shatters as Chuban's grotesque flesh morphs, knitting itself back together like cursed jelly. Seeing this, Leo orders everyone to retreat immediately. The demon unleashes cursed void magic, erasing all attacks like a black hole. Tio and Aaliyah panic, doubting any chance against such a broken foe, but Leo stays calm, knowing the void has limits. Chuban sneers at Leo, ridiculing the hero's remnants for daring to hope. Leo retorts, "If you're so mighty, why do you lose sleep over a mere sprout?" He orders a coordinated assault. As everyone gives their all, Aaliyah's signature magic rain star clusters on his head, striking true and confirming Lady Salatna's warning to eradicate budding heroes. Cornered, he lifts his weapon, forcing Leo to retreat. Seeing the danger, Leo shouts for everyone to dive for cover. One of the spikes pierces Bellic's side. Leo seizes the demon and dives behind the ice wall Chloe summons. He scans the group, offering to staunch the wounds with his aura. Then he commands Chloe to set up the final strike. He darts away, buying Chloe precious seconds to forge a void-piercing assault. Chloe cracks open the black tome she's guarded all along. Flipping its pages, she discovers the ultimate spell to incinerate the monster forever. The freshmen stare, mouths agape. Leo erupts around Chuban, his afterimages striking from every angle in a blur. The demon slashes at a phantom, only to be struck from another angle. A second blow lands from the opposite flank. Amid the mayhem, Tao doubts he'll ever pull off such a slick move, as Dina bluntly crushes his hopes. Aaliyah freezes, awed and confused. Leo's stellar magic reveals he's far from ordinary, his true identity still hidden. Before the dust settles, Chloe soars upward, conjuring a foreboding black sigil that steals the spotlight. A manic grin spreads across her face, blurring the line between hero and demon, as she vows to erase the monster from existence. Aaliyah screams at Leo to flee the blast zone, fearing nothing good will emerge from Chloe's spell. Chloe flashes a snarky warning. She won't be responsible for any collateral damage. She unleashes a scorching death ray straight at Chuban, striking with deadly precision. The blast triggers Leo's alarms. This ice wielder has just turned pyromaniac. Leo watches the demon crumble under the onslaught. Chloe cackles, bragging about her eternal flames and taunting Chuban to burn where he belongs. The blaze engulfs him, then morphs into a dark, Amaterasu-like fire. Alarm bells ring in Leo's mind as he shouts for her to stop before it spirals out of control. She defies him, insisting trash like Chuban deserves no mercy, revealing her turn to the villain's side. Leo lunges forward, snatching the cursed tome from her grasp as if it were a forgotten bedtime story. Moments later, Chloe regains her senses. Calmly, Leo demands the truth. Did she forge that endless flame or steal it? She admits the spell came straight from the book, a copy of the Flame of Erebus. Chuban begins to heal, rising from the fire. Leo rushes to warn Chloe. Her spell is black magic. He reveals the book is a hidden sorcery engine. The revelation sickens Chloe. She sighs, feeling too corrupted to be called a hero. Leo pulls her from the spiral. He admits he only just learned Chuban bears the void curse, meaning the demon wielded it against Aaliyah's crew. Those students were outmatched yet refused to surrender. He cites their academy's motto, Push beyond limits, just like Goku. The truth finally clicks. Chloe stops resenting Leo's lead. She now admires his unstoppable swagger. Aaliyah steps forward, assuring Chloe, "I believe in you." She gives Chloe the final boost she needs. With the void curse lifted, Leo prepares to end the battle once and for all. Suddenly, he detects a massive surge of magic. It's Chloe unleashing it. She shatters her limits, emerging as his equal, no longer a shadow, now backed by a new ally. Memories of his past life flood back as Leo recognizes her magic. It reminds him of the comrades he once fought with. The familiar light ignites a surge of courage. Shubarn lunges forward, slamming into Leo. He lands a finisher, but Leo blocks the first strike. The demon follows with a second blow that shatters his guard. The impact sends Leo crashing into a nearby tree. He claws at the bark, fighting to rise. Shubarn saunters up, taunting the hero's remnants and demanding another nap. Suddenly, a solitary snowflake drifts before Leo. The entire forest freezes in an instant. Fear melts away as Leo stands tall. He retorts, "Demons like Shubarn have never beaten me, and they won't now." The demon glares, bewildered by Leo's delusional confidence. Oblivious to Chloe looming behind, ready to unleash the night's biggest spell. She silently thanks Leo for sparking her breakthrough. She casts Ice World, a torrent of frost that encases the battlefield and sees thick ice. Hovering aloft, she summons towering crystalline lances to obliterate any foe beneath. Yet Shubarn remains unmoved, frozen solid as a cursed popsicle. Leo strides toward the icy demon. The instant his hand touches it, its soul evaporates into pure black smoke. He then discovers the black magic tome. He channels fire magic into his blade. He thrusts forward, igniting a scorching blast that sears everything. System alerts pop up, praising him for rescuing the freshman and defeating Shubarn. Yet Chloe steals the spotlight, unveiling a brand new spell on the spot. It's field magic, something he'd never mimic unless his survival instincts vanished. Chloe confesses she'll come clean, risking expulsion to own her actions. He assures her a talent like hers won't be expelled over one mistake. She's destined for heroism. Aaliyah and Dina rush in, lauding their daring rescue and heroic display. He returns the praise, admiring their fearless spirit. Chloe hands Aaliyah back her staff, thanking her for unlocking her true potential. Aaliyah surprises everyone, rewarding Chloe with the staff for her rescue. Dina hands Leo her sword as a heartfelt thank you. He accepts without a moment's doubt, just as calm returns. A rescue team's voices echo, announcing the survivors have been found. Breathless, Albie bursts in, drenched in sweat and panic for his sister. Chloe nearly collapses seeing her professor looking just like a classmate, stunned by the 30-year-old illusion. They watch the big brother lose it, while Aaliyah recounts the heroes who saved her, one almost as cool as him. Suddenly Albie's reality glitches, flickering and fading away. Chloe stands proud, having given everyone a second chance at life. Aaliyah points her brother toward the mysterious hero who rescued her. She whirls around, only to find them vanished. The hero dungeon collapses, crumbling to dust. Leo's screen flashes, a fresh reward unlocked. His vision fades on young Albie's tearful grin, thanking him for his sister. Cut to a hospital ward where he finally awakens. He meets the real Albie, eyes bright with gratitude. The professor, ever cool, offers a sincere thanks for saving his sister. He asks Leo to deliver the same gratitude to Chloe when she wakes. Leo exits, nonchalant, as if nothing happened. Moments later, the headmaster strides in. The keen-eyed elder leans in, asks Leo how he's faring, then cuts to business. He reveals he already knows about Chloe's black magic tome. Leo is silently stunned that this walking relic cracked the case. He produces proof from the shop where Sun Lu bought the summoning catalyst, and where Chloe later retrieved it, leaving the headmaster stunned that a sorcery device slipped into the academy unnoticed. These cursed tools, forged from Erebus fragments meant for demons, corrupt any mortal mind that wields them. Leo lays out the entire sequence of events. The Grand Master wonders if the Black Book sparked the chaos. Leo confirms the world reset the moment he shattered it. Chloe jerks upright, startled by the headmaster's presence. He urges her to stay calm and summons Elena. The ever-efficient secretary enters, bearing a large, cloth-wrapped bundle. Inside are the sword and crystal Dina gave earlier, plus Aaliyah's staff. Chloe's eyes widen as Aaliyah's staff materializes in reality, and the headmaster. The headmaster narrows his gaze at Leo, demanding how he obtained an impossible reward. Seeing Chloe's shock, Leo realizes he's the sole recipient, and recalls a similar incident during the entrance exam. Normally, a living hero's attack reward is forbidden, a rule never broken. Leah speculates it might trace back to the Fairy King's pledge. He admits outright that it was indeed an attack reward. The ancient headmaster presses, demanding certainty it originated from Albie's world, prompting Leo to craft a plausible excuse. He blames the black magic that turned the hero realm into a dungeon, an excuse that holds briefly, until the headmaster follows up, asking why Leo received a reward but Chloe did not. Fortunately, the new best girl candidate interjects, suggesting the system flagged Leo as the mission's pivotal player, granting him all the loot. The headmaster nods, buying the explanation, for now. He announces a discreet, behind-the-scenes investigation. He permits them to keep the rewards temporarily, promising to return them to their rightful families once the probe ends, keeping the sorcery machine hidden. Confused and shocked, Chloe demands why he's shielding her. He flashes a smile beneath his majestic mustache, noting that danger isn't always external. After that subtle warning, he orders them to rest and departs, leaving the room empty. Chloe's demeanor flips in an instant. She twirls her fingers, poised to pen a love confession. She's about to spill her feelings to Leo, but Anime Jesus cuts her off as 3 frantic girls burst in, eyes fixed on him. Adding to the chaos, the elderly mastermind slips back into view because he neglected to mention tomorrow's cadet celebration, requiring everyone to dress in formal attire. To celebrate surviving the midterm grind, the academy throws a student party. The hype-driven announcer revels in the crowd, teasing whether the night will favor beauties or charm-filled gentlemen. Instead, Class 5's NPCs arrive, strutting like royalty and acting as if the midterms were a breeze. The crowd swells, guests flood in for the feast, and gossip erupts from every corner. The duo raids the feast like starving orcs, but Carr pauses mid-bite, wondering why their class hasn't arrived, just as the announcer booms again. He reveals the next duo of heroes making a dramatic entrance, catching them off guard. Nella and Eliana stride in like runway models, dazzling in their gowns. The sight instantly turns the boys into drooling messes. The girls instantly mock the suits, teasing, "Did you borrow those from your dads?" The announcer cranks up the hype. He introduces the Llewellyn siblings, who stride in impeccably sharp, sending the crowd into a frenzy. Carr notes how instantly they're swarmed, and Eliana shrugs, saying it's expected for celebrities. The announcer cuts back in, teasing the next couple's arrival. Celia and Leo glide in, radiating power couple energy. Celia looks uneasy while Leo flashes a blinding playboy grin. Nella startles, leaping up in shock. Carr and Eliana can't resist cheering their dashing class rep. The mic lands back with the spirit-possessed girl, who eagerly asks the crowd how they're enjoying the party. Carr instantly turns pale at the sight of her. Thankfully, a few students shout they're having fun, keeping her from snapping. She stays composed, smiling that she's glad to hear it. Then, nonchalantly, she announces she'll reveal the midterm results right now. The hall falls silent, and Carr mutters that dinner is officially ruined. She smirks, saying she expected that reaction. She explains the faculty will announce only the top 3 per major tonight, the rest get results from homeroom teachers tomorrow. The students relax and cheer as she adds each major's professors will make the announcements. Ian steps up to the stage, and Eliana whispers that he looks especially dashing tonight. The sword professor swiftly praises everyone's effort, and begins naming the night major's top students. A hologram flashes, showing Celia first, followed by Duran and Chin. Celia furrows her brow, still expecting Leo to lead, and Leo catches her doubt. He notices her confusion as well. The magic major professor steps up, revealing Abad, Chelsea, and Emio as the top 3. Chelsea fidgets, Leo's name still absent, but Leo calms her, saying these things happen. R points out the strange omission of Leo, and Chloe's name. Chloe flinches, then forces a smile. The professor admits Chloe failed for a spellbook, yet praises her fierce talent. Sejuan echoes the praise, standing proudly, but Herod smirks and orders him back to his seat. Celia leans in, quietly reassuring Chloe. Finally, Yura dominates the stage, unveiling the summoning major results, prompting fans to scream for a chance to be her summon. She reads the list, and once again Leo's name is absent. Celia's worry spikes. Whispers ripple through the crowd about his mysterious omission. The mic lands back in the chaotic girl's hands. She asks if everyone's still having fun before declaring it's time to announce next year's academy representative. The suspense hangs heavy. At last, she shouts, "Leo Plav!" The room erupts, classmates cheering his name. The cheers are cut short when a student, Emil, accuses the result, noting Leo never ranked in any major and demanding proof. Stunned, Leo looks to the announcer, bewildered. The announcer stammers, scrambling for an explanation. Then she snaps, her alternate persona seizing control, hurling expulsive insults at the students. She snarls, "Listen up, I'll only explain this once, so stop yapping." Herod watches, amused, wondering if she's possessed again, while Sejin nods, finding it entertaining. She launches into a rant. Dual major students don't count in single major rankings because their stats are split. She cites a magical knight whose aura is weaker than a pure knight's and whose magic pales beside a true mage's. Yet their combined power eclipses either alone, and she notes Leo's joint practical scores top the board. Emil mutters that others outshine him in theoretical marks. She mercilessly roasts him, revealing Leo completed the Hero World mission. He even eradicated Chubarn, silencing everyone. Meanwhile, Leo stays cool, casually farming aura like it's nothing. The crowd stares at Leo, mouths agape. Eliana and Carr gasp, demanding how he cleared the dungeon with only one partner. Leo remains unflinching, offering no reply as the announcer reverts to her clumsy demeanor, and stutters once more. While Sejin notes her segment is over, she wraps up urging everyone to enjoy the party. The room instantly buzzes with gossip, shifting the atmosphere. Yura pauses her meal, asks Len how rankings would change if dual-class students counted, Len replies the board would be completely reshuffled. He calmly notes every rank would slip down one spot. When Jura probes if Leo would be first, the magic professor affirms it. Jura, shocked, says the summoning major would mirror this, and Ain confirms the same for his department. Jura wrestles with the revelation, while Ain points out that Leo's all-class ambitions now feel plausible. Len interjects, insisting Leo's destiny lies in sorcery. Jura retorts, demanding he pursues summoning instead. The stoic Glacial Knight watches their bickering, noting Leo's innate swordsmanship despite the profanities. Assistant professors exchange uneasy glances behind them. The next morning, a hungover car collapses, and Chelsea remarks she's never seen anyone down 2 liters of orange juice. Professor Herod strides into the room, demanding silence. He unfurls a world map and reveals their next field trip, the Elven Realm. The students light up, dreaming of the destinations they can choose. Herod taps the map decisively. "We're heading to El Salbekia," he declares. The news douses their excitement, and the notoriously frigid destination instantly sparks a chorus of complaints. He silences them by revealing the class rep made the call, leaving everyone stunned. Leo wears an innocent mask as Carr confronts him, demanding why he chose such a harsh locale. The CEO orders them to quit whining and pack, urging a rapid supply run. Liliana wails, vowing to buy gloves, while Chelsea can't wait to flaunt her winter coats. Leo reflects that El Salbequilla, dismissed as ordinary, is actually the hidden realm of fairies. He grows nostalgic, wondering how Silred has fared all this time. Upon reaching the city, Leo tells Nella to handle the potions while he secures food and gear. After intense bargaining, he clinches a solid deal and heads out loaded with supplies. Exhausted, Leo trudges back after the errand marathon. Suddenly, he snaps to attention, announcing, "Something's off in that alley." He recognizes the spot as the dreaded 13th block. He darts toward a familiar building, the one where Saint-Lou and Chloe snagged their sorcery gear. He drops his bag. Leo steps inside, only to find the shop emptied save for a lone teddy bear perched awkwardly on the floor. Nothing else seems amiss. It seems logical if the investigators already cleared the shop, yet something feels wrong. He quickly realizes the teddy shouldn't exist. Lumern would have taken everything and sealed the place, so he lunges to slash it. But the bear twirls midair and spews black goo that Leo instantly recognizes as a demonic presence. This isn't a regular demon. It oozes high-level curses and vile energy. The swirling darkness solidifies, attempting to speak. Leo narrows his eyes, the voice oddly familiar. Zaymon sneers at Leo's keen senses, locking eyes with him. He then sees it's Witch Queen Salatna, one of the 3 Legion commanders the heroes missed, though this isn't her true body. The demon taunts him, asking if he's a magical knight, warning his sharp senses will be his undoing. The demon lunges, and Leo barely evades. A razor-thin graze rakes his arm. Leo knows he can't win in this state. She slithers forward, thanking him for the tasty offering. She readies the final blow. A smirk curls on Leo's lips as a flash erupts behind him. A holy blast strikes, slamming the demon into the ground. Struggling to crawl away, it screams the sorcerer's name as Professor Albie watches from the doorway, posed perfect like an anime hero. Frustrated, the demon hisses, noting that an audience makes the hunt more enjoyable. But when the demon attempts another sneak attack on Leo, Albie is already a step ahead, hurling taunts like confetti. He unleashes a massive glowing sigil, denouncing the beast as cursed trash while blinding beams erupt. A blade of light slices off the demon's head, confirming its status as trash. The creature lunges at the golden boy, hissed its intent to devour the fairy's eyes. He retorts that he won't fall for a counterfeit, shouting, "Die!" As he fires a colossal Miko Mickey beam, the beast is shredded into scattered teddy bear fragments. Leo recalls that Professor Albie, the decimator of Tartarus, became a Lumen professor solely to gain border clearance for demon hunting. Leo breathes a relieved sigh, grateful for the era's hero. Albie fixes Leo with a cold stare, demanding, "What the hell happened?" Leo recounts the demon's emergence, hidden inside the cursed teddy. Grabbing the bear's head, Albie blames the investigation division for the chaos. He then shrugs, letting Leo's solo run slide this time. "Next time call for backup," Albie adds, reminding Leo of his debt. The warning throws Leo off balance. He slings his supply bag over his shoulder. In the back of his mind, he recalls that House Saren ranks among the 3 great families. He considers leaning on Albie to gain entry to the Forbidden Library. Turning back, he spots Nella, whose grin says she's thrilled to see him. She spots his wound, panics, rushes in, heals him, and demands what happened. Leo reflects that this incident implicates Salatna as the mastermind behind the demon and the cursed tome. Yet the true purpose of their scheme remains elusive. A week later, the students stand before a colossal gateway. Leo reviews the checklist with his class, confirming they have every essential before the portal opens. Ophelia approaches, asks why they're heading to El Salbekia, and he jokes it's a summer getaway from the heat. She smirks, declares she hates cold, wishes him fun, and departs with her own group. After seeing her off, he turns to the class and declares it's time to move. Chelsea looks fired up while Carr groans, "I hate the cold too." Satisfied everything's in place, Leo steps into the portal, entering the Elven realm. Meanwhile, At Siren Academy, two elves corner a fellow student, mocking his attire and questioning how someone like him fits at the Great Siren Academy, calling him a half-blood. The boy hangs his head in shame, until a voice cuts through the taunts. She steps forward, demanding they stop the bullying and behave like proper students. The bullies retort, asking if she's not offended by a half-breed's clothing, but she remains unfazed. Having had enough, she curses them, daring them to strip and give him their clothes if they dislike his. Stunned by her profanity, they order her to behave with dignity, but she fires back. She challenges them, asking if they're ashamed to gang up on an innocent kid. She tells them to scram, as they mutter about her acting like a rabid dog. She turns to the boy and asks why his clothes are so threadbare. He replies someone stole them, introducing himself as Luca Enrolls. Runia erupts at the thieves while Luca keeps trying to hand her back the scarf. Though a bit shy, she waves it off, telling him not to worry. He notices her oddly bright mood, and she confesses her contract has finally hatched. Luca beams, congratulating her, and she flashes a grin before dashing away. Runia bolts straight to her father's office. He quickly warns her not to use that title at the academy. Sweating, he confirms that Fernia's child has indeed hatched. She lights up like a child on their birthday. He admits a contract is already in place, creating a problem. The contract saps her energy. He says he's investigating. She slams her hand onto the desk. Who the hell stole my contractor? She demands. Meanwhile, Class 5 arrives safely at the academy. The group whines about the cold, but Leo orders them to toughen up. Herod cuts through the chatter. He commands them to line up and asks who knows the site's history. Chelsea raises her hand. She reveals the capital Velkia was named for a fairy knight, a disciple of Luna, the star poet. Leo recalls Velkia as the spoiled disciple of both Luna and Aaron. He jokes that despite his swagger, the guy still earned the fairy knight title. Professor Herod affirms her claim, noting House Ezra, descendants of the fairy knights, now rule. Suddenly, a figure emerges from the fog. Herod spots the approaching group as they become visible. Carr panics, demanding to know if they're the thieves. The professor warns that danger can lurk anywhere. Yet even he's startled when a familiar voice greets him, asking how he's doing. A squad of elves steps out, led by a sharp-looking white-haired commander. The girls instantly fangirl, as if they'd spotted a celebrity. A white-haired elf steps forward, smiling. I've been waiting for you. He's Loon Ezra, the council's chair. Herod chuckles, noting Loon's unchanged demeanor. The girls swoon, declaring they've finally met their destined soulmate as excitement spikes. Leo cuts in, teasing. Does age really not matter to you? Eliana nudges him, asking if he's jealous, but he stays cool, reminding her elves live centuries without aging. He flips the question. How old do you think Loon actually is? The two teachers overhear the banter, commenting that this batch is especially lively. Unlike the disciplined seniors before, Herod excuses the freshmen's antics as youthful fun. Eliana steps forward, boldly demanding Loon's name and age. He apologizes for the delayed introduction, reveals his name, and drops the bomb. I'm 97. Eliana's dream shatters in an instant. Carr casually shoves the frozen girl aside, asking if he might be their guide. Loon extends a hand, introducing himself as the council's chair. Carr shakes it awkwardly while Professor Herod mutters they'll talk later. Moments later, they end up in a dusty, abandoned hall. Just then, a mouse darts across the floor. The students panic, demanding, Are we really staying in this dump? Leo shrugs, offering a backup shelter, and Eliana immediately flatters him as their esteemed class leader. Leo suggests the tent outside, but Carr abruptly says they have plenty of unpacking to do. After a quick tidy-up, a few boys slip toward the staircase. Carr flashes a mischievous grin, declaring the best part of trips is spying on the girls. At the landing, they freeze. Chelsea stands there, seething. Without hesitation, she unleashes a gust of wind, tossing them aside as they beg for mercy. Leo watches, amused, noting everyone's having fun, and decides to explore himself. Before he moves, a voice calls him, Lord Leo, and he turns toward the speaker. It's an elf in uniform. The elf informs him the house head demands a meeting. Moments later, Leo steps into Loon's office. The council chair barely lifts his eyes from a towering stack of paperwork. He gestures Leo inside, apologizes for the delay, and asks him to wait a moment. Leo asks to explore the office, intrigued by its curiosities, and Loon gladly obliges. He strides to the wall-mounted armaments, noting their ancient appearance. His gaze sharpens as a particular weapon catches his eye. The name, Urquint, sparks an immediate reaction. Loon, startled, questions how Leo knows, since Urquint's lore is reserved for House Ezra's leaders. Leo, a bead of sweat forming, claims he read about it in Lumern's ancient library. Loon accepts without doubt. Touching the blade, he feels a hint of stellar mana, only to realize it's merely a replica. A flashback erupts, recalling his former life as hero Kyle. Back then, his comrades boasted about a new weapon, and Luna proudly displayed it to Kyle, seeking his verdict. He snapped back, calling her a goblin thief, and she erupted instantly. The genuine Urquint once belonged to Luna, then to her pupil Bertia, but vanished before the Tartarus mission. Loon appears behind Leo, revealing his ancestor reclaimed Urquint after conquering Berkia's hero world. Yet weapons from hero worlds bind only to their original conqueror. Leo realizes why it felt hollow, and Loon gestures for him to sit. Herod informs Loon that Leo is an all-class student and the first-year representative, which Leo confirms. Loon then makes an odd request. He wants Leo to speak with his granddaughter. She's a top student at Siren Academy. Now drained of motivation, Loon hopes Leo's different heritage will spark her. Leo hesitates at her door, uneasy about Loon giving him the key. Still, he knocks and steps inside. He walks into what he dubs the mother of all messes. He coughs, noting the room is chokingly dusty. He spots posters and figurines, proof she's obsessed with legendary heroes. He's seen collectors before, but this is a next-level mania. A Siren Academy uniform hangs on a hook, and just as he guesses its owner, the girl emerges, assuming her grandfather is inside. She erupts, demanding he stop barging into a grown girl's room. She freezes, shocked to find Leo standing there. Her face flares red as she screams, "A human's in my room!" She dives beneath the covers in panic. Leo introduces himself, explaining her grandfather sent him to meet her. She remains mute, cocooned in her blanket. Undeterred, Leo grabs a book, noting her cow collection rivals his, and asks how elves depict the hero. Flipping the pages, he marvels at her meticulous notes, and commends her deep grasp of Kyle's feats. She finally peeks out, whispering, "Do you like Hero Kyle too?" Leo probes about the Battle of Darnos. She recounts to Burka's defeat and the hero's first joint stand. Her eyes spark as she asks where Commander Zerga fell. Leo answers instantly, at Valak. She practically bounces, thrilled by his knowledge of forgotten hero lore. In her gaze, Leo glows like a knight in shining armor. Bashful, she introduces herself as Aaron, and wonders if her nerdy ramblings scared him away. Leo reassures her, saying the great heroes would rejoice knowing their tales still inspire. She insists Kyle is an overlooked fifth hero. Leo nods, saying he too sees Kyle as a true hero and plans to join a club researching his legacy, which lifts her spirits, until school worries resurface. Her mood drops again. Sensing her reservation, Leo gently asks why she doesn't want to return. She confesses she feels out of place at Siren Academy, where everyone aspires to be heroes. With her frail heart, she believes she doesn't belong among them. Noticing her pristine uniform, Leo realizes she still longs to go. He assures her she isn't alone, and his classmates would love to meet her and hear her insights. Surprised, she learns other schools train heroes of diverse races. He smiles, urging, "If curiosity calls, come see it for yourself." With that, he departs. As he steps out, Loon waits, eyes sparkling, startling Leo. Loon leans in, whispering excitedly, "Were you really talking to Aaron all along?" He wipes a theatrical tear, amazed that Aaron finally held a full conversation. Now he offers a magical gift. Leo accepts, unwilling to refuse. Loon guides him to the treasury, urging him to pick any item. Nothing catches his eye at first. Then Leo notices something unusual. He lifts it, and Loon nonchalantly calls it a fairy-infused jewel, more decorative than anything. Leo smiles. "This one's perfect," and Loon gladly agrees. Leo suddenly realizes the jewel houses a living fairy, not a mere carving. Later, Class 5 gathers in the hall while Professor Herod unveils their new schedule. From tomorrow, they'll rise at 6 a.m. for personal training, then drill on missions each afternoon. Eliana protests, noting they already train non-stop at school. Herod snaps it shut, declaring the trip isn't a vacation but a chance to hone their weak spots. He then reveals the schedule was devised by their class rep, prompting the class to glare at Leo with betrayal. Leo smiles, calling the site ideal for combat training, and Eliana convinces herself he means well. Herod concludes, urging them to savor this final day of freedom. That night, Leo studies the jewel in his room. He concludes it houses the Fairy King's magic. This explains why Loon called it merely a decoration. Since the Fairy King's contract vanished after the Age of Calamity, its magic has lain dormant. Leo, however, recognizes Silrid's power and pours his own magic into the jewel, making it glow. He finally activates the Fairy King's pledge he received earlier. The jewel cracks open. A tiny voice whispers, "Father, have you finally broken the seal?" The fairy, seeing Leo, is baffled and demands why a random human is there. Leo retorts, "And who are you supposed to be?" Offended, the fairy declares himself Kirin. He is the firstborn of Fairy King Silrid. He boasts like royalty. While Leo steadies his fingers and smug Kirin mutters his name, Leo flicks him on the forehead. Kirin freezes, stunned by the human's boldness. Leo smirks, reminding him that even Silrid showed him respect, and wonders who this brat thinks he is. Enraged, Kirin erupts in hateful slurs. Leo swats his head repeatedly, like a scolding mother. Suddenly, Kirin regains composure, staring in awe as he recognizes Leo as the pledged one his father foretold. Leo leans in, warning him to speak up if he has a grievance. Kirin relents, considering a pact with a human might not be so bad. Leo pats Kirin's head, noting that Silrid stripped all 6 of his wings. He must have been a royal pain. Kirin is surprised Leo knows, but Leo cuts him off, urging him to summon Silrid now. Kirin smirks, declaring he can only call his father after reclaiming all 6 wings, the first of which lies in the nearby forest. Leo grins, calling it fate that their paths have crossed. He delivers another swift flick for good measure. The following day, the class trudges into the forest amid biting winds. Pressing onward, they freeze anew, this time with shock. Chelsea is abruptly struck down by a gust of wind magic. Leo lifts her, smirks, and warns, "Train harder if you want to keep up." Earlier, Eliana erupted when Leo said she can't sync her swordplay with magic, so she assumes he's training alone. Leo sidesteps, urging the duo to improve their summoning, a skill they believed mastered, sparking their ire. Chelsea interjects, recalling his entrance exam critique that she lacks true wind magic mastery. She draws her weapon, smiling, and challenges him to prove his worth. Leo nods, accepting the challenge. Impressed by his feats, she wonders what else he hides. He gives her no time to ready a counter. She unleashes a sudden windbreaker, a roaring gust hurtling at him. Leo barely flinches, firing his own windbreaker back. The spells clash, nullifying hers and leaving her stunned. Eliana is floored. She thought high-speed casting was Chelsea's domain, yet Leo matched her tempo. Undeterred, Chelsea launches a wind chain attack. Leo sighs, recalling their first encounter. He had warned her never to wield wind magic that recklessly. He unleashes a wind bolt. The colossal spell tears through her defense, hurtling straight at her. She crashes into a tree, then a sudden snowdrift smothers her head. Leo approaches, sword pointed, calmly proclaiming victory. Dazed, Chelsea doubts whether that was true wind magic. Carr chimes in, admitting he never expected her defeat, while Eliana can't fathom the class rep's power. Professor Herod notes Chelsea's raw power matches, but her grasp of wind magic lags. Leo pets the grumpy cat as the professor warns against neglecting fundamentals while chasing new skills. He concludes, urging everyone to hone their abilities under the rep's guidance, prompting a chorus of complaints about the biting cold. Later, Leo strides alone through the snow-laden forest. He scours the woods, gathering herbs for the upcoming mission. He recalls how the others completely folded out. Smirking, he assumes they'll postpone their tasks and stay passed out at the inn. Suddenly, Kieran darts in, proudly unveiling a massive stash of herbs. Leo pats Kieran's back, inflating the fairy's pride. Satisfied, Leo tucks the bag away. He muses it's time to probe the forest, declaring the hunt for Kieran's wings begins. They press onward. He halts, asking when Kieran was exiled. The fairy replies, about a century ago. Leo narrows his eyes, urging a closer look at the illusion. Kieran detects Fairy King magic, not his father's. Leo deduces the spell originates from Silrid's father, the Fairy King of the Calamity era, over a century old. Its power draws from Kieran's wings, repurposed into an ancient formula. A voice pierces the air, announcing hidden treasure nearby. An ominous aura washes over them, putting both on edge. The stranger approaches, questioning human trespass in elf lands, while Leo retorts that the undead presence is far stranger. The grim skeleton snarls, declaring the realm has long fallen under Tartarus's rule. Kieran fires back, proclaiming the area a sacred fairy sanctuary. The skeleton scoffs, mocking Kieran's claim to fairy blood. The insult fuels Kieran's magic, igniting his fury. He lunges at the skeleton without a second thought. The creature barely reacts before Kieran blasts a clean hole through its chest. It collapses into a heap of bone. Kieran scoffs that it crumbled too easily for something so loud and arrogant, while Leo arches an eyebrow, asking why a fairy fights like a berserker. Kieran stretches, noting that fairy and undead energies naturally cancel each other out. He freezes as the skeleton speaks again, admitting Kieran may be low-level but still a fairy, and begins to reconstitute before them. Kieran sneers at the skeletal stand. He charges in again, vowing to crush it properly this time. Mid-strike, something feels off, and Leo shouts for him to move. The skeleton drives its sword into the ground, unleashing waves of foul aura. Kieran darts away at the last second. He slams straight into Leo. Leo watches the stunned fairy, who gasps. "What on earth is that?" He replies. "An ancient monster. From Tartarus, a death knight." The skeleton rises, introduces itself as Kargor, and swears fealty to the Lich King. It lunges at them once more. Leo steps forward, brandishing his blade. Kargor vanishes, reappearing behind Leo like a phantom. The Death Knight lifts his sword and declares, "I will deliver you to your doom." Thinking fast, Leo shifts into spectral form, conjuring a barrier that blocks the Death Knight's strike, the clash reverberating through the silent forest. The Death Knight lunges, stunned that a human conjured an aura shield so swiftly. He flashes a crooked grin and swings again. This time Leo parries the blow flawlessly. Mocking his effort as futile, the knight shoves forward with raw force. Kieran bolts into the clearing, panic fueling his charge. He's slammed into the earth with barely a breath. Groaning, he rubs his throbbing forehead, cursing his depleted power and longing for his lost wings. Leo wastes no time, chanting as crimson flames engulf him. The blaze catches the Death Knight off guard. Phoenix wings erupt from Leo's back, blazing through the shadowed forest. He watches, awed, as he realizes Leo is also a contractor. He delivers a swift, precise strike. The blade slices the Death Knight cleanly in half. The tiny phoenix lands proudly on Leo's shoulder. Kieran rushes in, immediately fussing over the fiery flume. Kieran tries to shoo it away. The annoyed bird puffs up, but Before the court escalates, the Death Knight booms, swearing none will leave alive. He drives his sword into the earth, unleashing a curse that opens a dark pit. He summons an army of undead. Skeletal warriors rise one by one, weapon in hand. Realizing the curse endlessly resurrects the dead, Leo drops his shield, prompting a startled Kirin to ask if he's surrendering. Leo smirks, strikes a confident pose, and declares he's finally seized Kyle's mana. Without hesitation, he unleashes Earth Ripple, sending shockwaves outward. The ripples burst outward, toppling the undead. Leo lunges ahead, cutting them down with ruthless efficiency. Wielding his Vortex Slash, he ignores the Death Knight entirely. The Death Knight roars, demanding a proper duel, but Leo taunts him for hiding behind his horde. Utilizing a jump boost, he rockets skyward as the Death Knight screams behind him. Finally, Leo halts, convinced he's gone far enough, yet the uncanny presence of a Death Knight in a fairy forest nags at him. Confused, he spots a lone skeleton emerging from the trees. He grips his blade, assuming it's just a stray foe. Before he can strike, the skeleton is torn apart. An elf materializes, sword raised, demanding who summoned the skeleton. Leo calmly replies he's merely a Lemurn student, uninvolved. Spotting the elf's Aaron uniform, Leo identifies him as a Saren student. The elf scoffs and attacks. Leo evades effortlessly and brings him down with the pommel of his sword. A voice cuts in, urging him to cease. A red-haired elf steps forward, apologizing for the rudeness. She introduces herself as Runia, assuring Leo not all Saren students are like that. He accepts her apology and asks why she's here. She says she's on field training, while Leo mentions their class is on a school trip. Leo excuses himself to report the incident to his professor, and Runia sees him off. He hesitates, trying to recall why her name sounds familiar. Meanwhile, she scolds a student for a mistake, calling her an idiot sandwich. Back at the academy, Loon seems nonchalant about the Death Knight incident. He notes that although monsters have appeared, nothing this severe has happened before. Professor Herod vouches for Leo, insisting he wouldn't fabricate such a story. Suddenly, a voice warns that misunderstandings stem from ignorance. A dark-haired elf scoffs at the notion of a first year facing a Death Knight, introducing himself as Professor Herdium. Loon gestures, inviting Leo to speak. Herdium argues Leo probably confused the Skeleton Knight with a Death Knight. Real ones would have killed him instantly. He asks if Herod truly believes the tale. Herod replies emphatically, "I do," since Leo serves as the class representative. Herdium is surprised, realizing Leo could reshape Siren students' perceptions. He's worth watching. He probes whether Leo also wields magic, and suggests a joint Lemurn-Siren class. Later, the students revel at a lively party. Carr marvels at the grandeur, while Chelsea notes the Emperor himself is hosting. Eliana and Nella buzz with excitement, eager to experience Siren's teachings firsthand. Leo stays skeptical, realizing Herdium only trusts what he sees. His thoughts are cut short when Runia reappears, inviting him to dance. They glide together as if rehearsed for years, and she's thrilled he knows the elven dance, which Leo explains he learned ages ago. She suddenly notices she never asked his name, and asks how to address him. The instant he replies, her demeanor flips. She snatches his collar, shouting that he stole her contract. She tightens her grip, vowing to end him then and there, yet Leo remains unmoved. At that moment, Leo recalls the Phoenix Lady's warning that another was destined to be Fiora's pact bearer, and realizes it's Runia. She trembles with fury, glaring at him and branding him a shameless thief. Leo just smiles, assuring her that Fiora is thriving. His calm only drives her farther over the edge. She screams, "Die!" and charges at him recklessly. Later, Runia bows her head and apologizes for the outburst. Leo brushes it off, making no fuss. He forgives her instantly, and walks away with Professor Herod. Herdium scolds Runia, warning her never to repeat such a careless mistake as the first-year representative. Runia nods dejectedly, then the professor demands they prove Siren's superiority over Lemurn. He shakes her like a blender, proclaiming they must outshine every hero academy. He suddenly panics, fearing he went too far. Runia roars, vowing to crush the thief for Saren's pride. The joint class kicks off as Professor Herod greets the Saren students, promising a first-hand glimpse of Lemurn Academy. The promise instantly sparks their curiosity. He summons Carr, Eliana, and Thad to lead, startling the trio. Herod calmly notes they're among Lemurn's top survivors, now tasked to showcase their skills. The compliment practically melts their hearts. Chelsea spots that each department chose a student to teach, while Leo suspects the professor is dodging work. They begin daily lessons, covering everything they've learned about their craft, their distinct magics. Their enthusiasm instantly captivates the elf students. Professor Herdium smiles, noting that mingling with other races can spark fresh magical techniques. He silently wonders why the class representative hasn't stepped forward yet. Chelsea cheers them on as they bow, and the elf professor nods approvingly. He praises their effort, feeling the devotion each has poured into training. Grabbing the chalk, he explains Soren's unconventional teaching method. Though elves base everything on magic, Soren insists on balancing it with non-magical skill. Leo mentally calls him out, realizing the curriculum remains drenched in magic despite the facade. He believes elves are eternally pretentious, never changing. When the professor launches into intricate spell theory, Leo yawns, his eyes glazing over. Herdium notes the boy's boast of battling a death knight and his trashy class attitude, then decides to switch gears. He discards the lecture, conjuring a glowing golden star, the essence of Cern, in his palm, a testament to his formidable spirit. Even Leo's curiosity sparks. He reiterates that elves are a race forged from magic. He flings the star skyward. It shatters into countless tiny stars that rain down on the students, eliciting awe. Chelsea's eyes glitter as she exclaims, "That's star magic, the elves' original spell system." The professor nods, declaring this core spell, drawn from Luna's legacy, as the foundation of all star magic and its endless variations. He smiles, asking the class if it isn't beautiful. He pauses as a hand shoots up. He gestures the class rep to speak. Leo, indifferent to star magic, calmly points out the spell's misinterpretation. His words chill the room instantly. The professor's face reddens, veins straining, as he struggles to respond. Leo explains the magic won't activate at all. The class gapes as if he desecrated a holy relic. The professor recovers, claiming the spell's incompleteness makes failure obvious. He reveals that their forebears decoded the progenitor's archives, gradually restoring the spell to its present form. Leo instantly realizes it's one of Luna's forgotten spells, originally crafted solely for Kyle when she birthed the star magic. Unamused, the professor issues a challenge, demanding Leo pinpoint their misinterpretation. Professor Herod steps forward, attempting to calm the tension. He freezes as Leo strides confidently toward the board. Leo muses that the elves' magic is a diluted copy. He once held Luna's full version before his untimely death. He gazes at the board, questioning whether fate has reunited them. Herod breaks into a cold sweat, aware that meddling with the progenitor's legacy could cripple the elves' prized star magic. Undeterred, Leo dives in, rewriting the formula with his own arcane energy. The elf students murmur bewildered, having never witnessed such a display. Moments later, Leo declares the spell ready. The newly forged formula erupts in a blinding glow. The professor watches the luminous pattern, tears welling. He whispers, asking what spell it is and if Leo has wielded it before. A flashback seizes Leo, placing him on a cliff's edge. Luna calls out, proudly declaring the magic complete. She smiles, telling Kyle she will now teach him the spell. It can make flowers bloom, a golden glow cradled in his hands. Leo reenacts Luna's spell, sending a cascade of luminous flowers through the hall, igniting the room and the students' excitement. Eliana looks at Nella, questioning the class rep's daring feat. Nella merely nods. Runia is stunned by the professor's reaction, wondering if Leo just shattered the founder's legacy before the whole class. Kneeling, the professor clutches a golden flower, muttering disbelief that their magic is merely a bloom. Leo calmly counters, noting flowers nearly vanished in the Age of Calamity, and must hold deeper meaning for the nebula's founder. He recalls, as Kyle, telling Luna that such frivolous magic wouldn't aid them in battle. She replied that flowers were beautiful, dreaming of a world forever in bloom. The professor concedes the founder embedded a deeper truth within the spell. As the blossoms fade, students whisper, trying to decipher Leo's true identity. Leo quietly reveals he mastered the magic solo, studying ancient texts. He adds he's a dual-class, natural-born mage, without a drop of elf blood. Professor Herod steps forward, apologizes for Leo, and calls off the joint class. He argues it's premature to condemn Leo without an official verdict. Just as he's about to finish, Professor Herdium lunges forward, seizes his hands, and bluntly demands Leo's transfer to Siren Academy. The sudden move throws Herod completely off balance, sparking chaos throughout the class. Back at their quarters, Chelsea proudly ladles a mysterious soup that looks like a one-way ticket to the afterlife. Meanwhile, Eliana serves a risotto just as deadly. The boys immediately debate which dish will kill them faster. Without hesitation, Eliana shoves a spoonful into Car's mouth. He freezes, then vomits it out without a second thought. Loon bursts in, laughing at the spectacle, while Hera quickly drags Leo aside for a private conversation. Loon tells Leo the Grand Assembly has finally ruled on the Death Knight incident. Nella slips away, intent on eavesdropping. He reveals multiple undead sightings have erupted across the realm. Even a Death Knight prowls the fairy forest, prompting a formal investigation. A joint search party is now being assembled. The others listen in secret. Loon warns the mission is too dangerous for first years, so Saren seniors will escort them. Leo asks if that's his only reason for showing up. Loon shakes his head, saying he came for Leo because his granddaughter begged to meet him. Biren steps forward, shy but determined. She asks how Leo's doing, noting she came because he invited her. Leo then introduces her to the group. The girls instantly swoon, gushing over her cuteness. Overwhelmed, Iran darts upstairs, apologizing to everyone. The girls fear they've messed up. Loon tells Leo he's counting on him. Silently, Leo heads upstairs, and finds Iron curled on the balcony. He throws his jacket over her, startling her. She tries to return it, but he refuses and asks why she left Saren. She answers, "I left because I felt unfit to be a hero," a refrain Leo's grown tired of hearing. She recounts meeting a radiant figure, Runya, who embodied true heroism. From that moment, she watched Runya from a distance, realizing she lacked everything he possessed. Determined, she emulated him and rose to the top of the class. Yet something went awry during the dual assessment. Afterward, Runya began to despise her. Leo finds this odd, since Runya never seemed that way, and vows to question her later. He notes, Iron reminds him of Verkia and asks if she knows her tale. She lights up instantly, recognizing her ancestor's story. Leo explains that Verkia followed the path of legendary hero mentors. He assures her not to worry about others' opinions. He urges her to forge her own path, instantly brightening her spirits. Smiling, he beckons her downstairs, promising a class full of friendly, fun peers. Later, the group assembles for the expedition. Runya bursts forward, demanding how Leo managed to win Aaron's trust. Leo replies he simply told Aaron not to fear Runya, leaving her baffled. He adds that Aaron said Runya's terrifying stare made her feel despised. Runya admits she stayed focused because Aaron's talent is real, and Leo urges her to watch over the girl. She likely needs help. Suddenly, Professor Herdium calls out, drawing everyone's attention. As a group of third years approaches, Lauder steps forward, and the professor praises the impressive work Lauder previously submitted. Leo looks at Runya, asking who the guy is. She replies he's her senior who rose from zero to hero this year. Leo finds that oddly suspicious. Professor Herod calls the group together, announcing it's time to form 3-person teams. He names the first team, Leo, Runya, and Lauder, hardly a coincidence. As they head out, Runya grumbles about the professor's team building push, and Leo quips about the thief remark. His tease sparks her again. She snaps she still hasn't been recognized, while he ignores her like background noise. She scans the area, puzzled by Lauder's absence despite the team format. Leo remembers Lauder mentioning he'd go solo. He guesses Lauder has his own plan. Leo places his hand on the floor, sensing something amiss. Runya remarks that after all this ground they've covered, not a single undead has shown up. Leo, however, is seized by a sudden realization. The landscape looks unchanged, reminding him of his conversation with Kirin. A lingering death curse blankets the land, detectable only by someone who survived the cataclysm. Death King Hellkaiser, Erebus' most loyal follower, once commanded the Legion of Tartarus. Leo doubts Hellkaiser arrived himself, suspecting he dispatched the Death Knight Karja as his agent. Standing, Leo senses that beyond this point lies a secret within the fairy lore that Silrid is desperate to guard. Runya looks at him, confused, and asks if he felt something, but before he can answer, the footsteps break the silence as an approaching presence becomes clear. Instinctively, Leo points his sword forward, only Lauder appears, nonchalantly asking how the investigation is progressing. He probes whether they've encountered any undead, but they deny any sightings. He then asks if Leo was the first to report the Death Knight's presence. Leo confirms, shakes Lauder's hand, and notes the odd black ring on his finger. Lauder retorts that Leo may have leapt to conclusions, blaming his first-year excitement. He reminds them that high-level Death Knights need a necromancer's mana feed, which is why demonic summoners accompany them. Runya deduces that a hidden demon must lurk in the forest. Lauder counters, pointing out they're in the capital of El Salbekia. He reminds her, as a Sarin student, she should know Berkia's surrounding star magic. Runya nods. Leo interjects firmly, stating no rule mandates the necromancer be a demon. Dark magic isn't limited to humans, elves and other races wield it too. Lauder scoffs, insisting elves are too proud to sink that low. He shuts down the debate, ordering them to finish the probe. Yet Leo senses Lauder's hunting for something else. Runya too detects the unease in his demeanor. That night, the group shares notes. Not a single undead, let alone a Death Knight, was seen. Chelsea flags the sudden disappearance as downright suspicious. Carr tries to slip away, claiming he's heading to bed, but Chelsea pulls him back. Elsewhere, a figure with dark intentions leaps from his dorm window. He lands silently, vanishing without a sound. Leo heads to the academy dorms. He slips into Lauder's room like a seasoned thief. Already suspecting Lauder's escape, he enters and discovers a mysterious map. The Fairyland's entrance is marked in bold. Suddenly, Runya bursts in, demanding why he's there. Leo silences her then. She calms, admitting she's after the same clue. Lauder's already gone. Before their argument escalates, voices from outside ask if Lauder is still asleep. Leo snatches Runya without warning. He darts straight toward the window. Aaron perks up at the sound. He rushes to the sill just in time. He sees Leo cradling Runya in his arms. Runya's cheeks flare red. She drops her book, her mind racing through every romantic fantasy. The pair vanish into the forest as Leo asks how long Runya intends to follow him. Runya demands to know if he still suspects Lauder, noting he arrived this morning while Leo saw the Death Knight days earlier. Her question is cut short when Aaron, who'd been tracking them, appears. Flustered, Runya asks how long she's been tailing them, and Leo coolly admits he already knew. Flushed, she blares that student dating is absolutely prohibited. The proclamation catches them both off guard. Stunned into silence, she stammers that she saw them sneaking out, gushes about their looks, then admits it's still wrong. Leo rubs his temples, muttering that she's completely mistaken. He urges Runia to clarify the mix-up. Runia, equally flushed, stammers that it's not what she imagined. Suddenly, Leo freezes, sensing imminent danger. A rotting hand erupts from the ground. The earth cracks as undead rise one by one. Leo wastes no time, drawing his sword in a single swift motion. A chilling voice drifts in, slowly welcoming them to the fairy forest. The dead begin to rise. Leo brandishes his blade, urging everyone to stay sharp against the high-ranking undead knights. He shouts behind him, asking if Renia's ready, and she slams her hand into the ground, summoning roaring flames. She unleashes Firestorm, igniting the entire area. Grinning proudly, she boasts about her feat, oblivious to the charging knight bearing down on her. Leo spots the danger too late to intervene, but Iron leaps forward, deflecting the attack like a true Amazonian warrior. Leo finally notices she's clad in animus armor. She slices the skeleton cleanly, ending its existence in an instant. Runia cheers the bashful elf, whose cheeks turn crimson. Leo quips she resembles Berkia, sending her soaring with joy. The shy elf then asks why they're alone here. Runia clears her throat, revealing they were sneaking into the third-year dorm to investigate. Flustered, she declares romance would only derail her studies, prompting a deadpan "bruh" from Leo. Eren interjects, proclaiming Runia will be the top student and a future hero. The words strike Runia, remembering Eren always saw her that way. Her thoughts flash back to their duel, where Eren barely deflected her strike with a mana shield. Runia smirked, realizing only Eren was strong enough to be her true rival. She surged forward, channeling a devastating fire spell. Her fierce glare unsettled Eren, causing his guard to slip. The fire erupted, colliding with him in a massive explosion. Runia finally understood Eren's look, sighing as she accepted her own fault. When Eren stopped appearing, Runia begged her to return, insisting they were friends, and met the shy elf's doubt with unwavering confidence. "We're friends," she declared, urging Eren to keep challenging her as a rival. Eren then doubted whether they weren't a couple, prompting a deadpan Leo, while a flustered Runia quickly shut him down. Leo, like a seasoned elder, simply called them kids. Meanwhile, somewhere unseen, the Death Knight snarls that the mage has hit his limit as intruders swarm the area. The cloaked mage retorts that the knight's problem, not his. He tosses his hood, revealing Lauder, whom the skeleton jeers as a brat. Irritated, the skeleton steps forward, demanding why he's treated like a low-rank servant, even as a Death Knight of the Great Lich. Lauder stays unmoved, flashing his ring and taunting that the Great Lich chose him instead. Walking away, he adds casually that once the summoning circle completes, Tartarus will be obsolete. He says he's counting on the knight until then, while the skeleton lets out a mocking laugh. He agrees to obey, promising no betrayal. Back with the hero squad, Eren can't believe Senior Lauder allied with demons, and Runia shares her shock. Iron shivers, complaining the air has turned icy, and even the red-haired elf senses the shift, while Leo stays silent, aware of the danger. He flicks open glowing sigils like a phone screen and urges everyone to prepare before going deeper. He summons his two loyal spirit beasts. Runia goes berserk at the sight of a scarlet bird. She lunges to crush it, prompting Eren to ask who the beasts are. Leo introduces Fiora and Kirin, impressing Eren further. Leo snaps back, declaring enough and that it's time to enter the forest's core. They plunge into darkness as Leo warns that trouble is imminent. The trio sprints forward, vanishing among the lurking monsters. Runia caps the chaos with a blazing fireball. The charred bodies then exude a surge of dark energy. The dead claw their way back to the surface. Runia deduces a necromancer must be nearby. Leo lunges forward, blade flashing. He obliterates the skeleton horde in an instant. He claims no summoner is near, but Runia remains skeptical. He reveals they're facing an undead curse, a phenomenon Runia has never heard of. Eren interjects, explaining the curse endlessly raises the dead, turning the land into a tomb. Leo adds that only Tartarus's general, Hellkaiser the Lich King, can wield such a spell. Runia panics at the name, urging an immediate report to the professor. Suddenly, a wave of icy blast hits them like a freezer door flung open. A chilling voice greets the heroes, ushering them into the realm of the dead. The Death Knight reappears, charging at Leo and clashing steel with steel. He cackles madly, claiming there's no escape, while Leo calmly parries without a word.